ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to this special edition of Drive Time as we bring to you the second annual Sideline Junkies People Mock Draft. So we're coming to you live. I'm going to introduce a few people, then we'll get going here shortly. So, of course, I'm joined with one of my lovely co-hosts, Showtime Sarah. How you doing today?
I'm good. A little burnt. The weather has been absolutely insane. Finally enjoyed 80, 70-degree weather, and then yeah, it went south. Forgot some sunscreen. Don't forget sunscreen, guys.
Nope, never a bad idea. And filling in for Scooter, who is feeling under the weather. He says he'll be joining us in the comments, but he's got a really bad sore throat and talking a lot for 2.5 hours, which is probably our scheduled time for this thing. It's never a good idea. So filling in from Unapologetic Sports is the one and only Flying Brian. How you doing today, sir?
What's up, Matty Ice? I'll say it like I say it, Lee Ice on Unapologetic Sports. Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to doing this. You were on our show last week and plugging. Yeah, and you were on last week plugging this, and I thought it was a real cool concept. So I'm looking forward to being a part of it.
Well, thanks for filling in last second for Scooter. I do appreciate it. Anthony checking in saying hi. Go ahead and read his other one, and I'll explain to him how this works. So, Anthony, could you choose for Dolphins? I actually thought about trying to reach out to you, but I've got a dear old friend who I've worked with from my real job for going on 20 years now, who is also a huge Dolphins fan. So she made the 2 Dolphin picks for your team. So you'll just have to stay tuned, see if you like what she picked or not. So, because I did think but it's weird. Like I know 2 Dolphin fans. We got Boss Man BJ and Flying Brian, who are Bills fans. Of course, we got a ton of Skins fans. So it's hard to pick who's going to make those picks for those teams when you got like 3 or 4 different people for. So
yeah, Anthony, I'm doing the show and I'm not picking the Buffalo picks. Don't feel bad.
Yep. So that is exactly correct. So anyway, so this is how this is going to work. So we'll get into here. Of course, but before we even start that, you can watch the show live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. And of course, we're live 24/7 on YouTube. You can also listen to us the next day on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pocket Cast, Podbean, and Castbox. So plenty of ways to catch all of your favorite shows here on the Sideline Junkies Podcast Network. So just a reminder of how we did last year. I want to bring this up here full one and take away our ugly faces here for a quick second here. We picked 6 of the 32 correct with player and team. We picked 10 of the 32 correct by position. And then we also picked 9 of the 32 correct by player taken at the right spot, but a team traded there. So like an example, when Cleveland and Jacksonville made their trades, the players ended up being right. It's just obviously we got the team wrong because we didn't do trades in any of this. I didn't open up to the GMs to do trades. But you can see we actually did really, really well, especially at the start of the draft. And we did pretty good of figuring out, of what teams we're going with by position. So I think overall that's a pretty good sign of what of what the people's mock draft can do here. Now I'm trying to get this thing to go short, and will not go. Why will not go? Come on, my cat's also not helping me. Sir, can you bring that to go minimize? It's not minimizing for me for some reason. See if you can scroll over that to minimize that, so then we can see our pretty faces again. There you go. Thank you. Look at you doing that. All right. So now these are the teams without a pick in the first round. So nobody to pick for these teams because they don't have a first round pick. Atlanta, Indy, Green Bay, Jacksonville, Denver towards the end, of course, made a pick. And then the Cincinnati Bengals were going to be very, very, very evil because they made the trade on Sunday, which really pissed me off because I had to go to the person who had Cincinnati, say, you don't no longer have the pick, and find the Giants person. The Giants, of course, then had that pick. And then begins the fun of, because they technically don't have to take the same person. So we had to go through that whole lineup, but there was a possibility of maybe having to redo the picks 10 through 31 from 10 o'clock yesterday. Fortunately, I got very lucky and only a couple picks had to change. But the Cincinnati Bengals almost became my arch nemesis for next year just because of that reason. So that was kind of the funny part of all this for sure. So we're going to be bringing people in here all over the place. So keep an eye out for that here as you see people come in. We'll have people come in, make the picks. Some of them couldn't be on live, so I'm going to read off their picks for the ones that can't be on live. And that's kind of the premise of how this whole entire thing is going to work. So with that being said, Sarah, why don't you go ahead and throw up Josh's comment real quick? Appreciate him checking in with us. Hope you like the show, Josh. And if you do, keep watching here. I'll just throw it up here because I don't know what happened to Sarah. She might have to fly off there real quick. So Flying Brian, you cool with the idea and the premise of everything here and how that's going to work?
Yep, sounds good.
All right. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead here because, and I'm going to see here. I thought I saw Dylan in here at one point in time, but I think he was here, but then it looks like he left. So hopefully he comes back in time. So get ready, Dylan, because this pick obviously isn't going to be take too long, because the first pickup is, of course, the Las Vegas Raiders. And now I'll be honest with you, as a Raider fan, like the pick is obvious, right? We all know who the pick is going to be, but the Raiders need so much. I would not have been upset if we would have opened this up for trades. I would have been talking to Cleveland. I would have probably talked to the New York Jets about trying to get 2 picks, because the Raiders need so much. As much as I think Mendoza will be a really good quarterback, I'm not sold on him, and the Raiders need so much help. So I wouldn't be opposed if they did or didn't do that. But with that being said, the pick is obviously in. And the pick is Fernando Mendoza, quarterback for Indiana. Like the Raiders need a quarterback. I know we got Kirk Cousins. I'm not that upset with signing Kirk Cousins, but I love the Kirk Cousins deal because it sets it up where they don't have to play Mendoza week 1 if they don't want to, or they don't need to. So it kind of gives them time. There's been no talk of them trading out of this pick. There's been no talk of anything. So he's the obvious pick. He's the only one that I think they've even interviewed as far as first round talent goes. So Flying Brian, you're playing the role of Mel Kiper. Here's the first pick. I'm assuming you don't really see anything that is going to be too crazy on this pick.
Yeah, it's funny. I started writing notes, and I started writing him, and I was like, why do I need to write? I mean, this one's everybody knows. There's not much to say about this one. And then you being the fan yourself, you said, you're not necessarily maybe sold on him, but everyone knows that's where he's going. And then also just to peek behind the curtain, you sent me the spreadsheet, and the comments for the pick was duh. So
yeah, that's duh. It is the dub pick of all dub picks that I can think of. And like I said, I would have definitely, though, like if we were opening this up for picks, I would have talked to the Jets, because I think the Jets would have loved to move up to 1, because I think they really want a quarterback as well. But because the Jets have 2 and 16, that would have been really tempting, because the Raiders just need so much talent. But I think too, what you've seen so many teams trade out this first round, I think it kind of tells you where the teams think that the talent pool is, that there's just not a lot of that top end completely going to be dominate talent. I think there's a lot of good players, which, don't get me wrong, the Raiders can use a lot of good players too, but we'll see. I think it's the obvious pick, and my only hope being a Raider fan is that we just don't screw it up. Sarah, being that I've somehow convinced you to be a sad Raider fan with me, I assume, are you in agreement with we're taking Mendoza, right?
I mean, obviously there is that possibility that we do trade away that pick, because that is also a Raiders thing that we do. But if we do keep it, Mendoza's the way to go.
I agree for that too. And for those that want, put in your comments, bring in comments. The way we're going to do the comments is every 5 picks, we'll stop, we'll take a break, we'll read some of the comments for the first 5 picks, we'll go through those comments, and then also so if you put in comments, hang in there. We're going to read the comments after. We're going to basically do that every 5 picks. So there is the first pick. I think we're all good with the first pick, right? All right. So with that being said, our guy that's picking for number 2, he's been on the show before. I'm going to let him introduce himself. Dylan, how are you doing today, sir?
Hey, Matt. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, my name is Dylan Allen. I run Breaking Plane with sports cards and memorabilia breaks, and glad to be out here doing this mock draft today.
Always pleasure. You're on with us last year. Appreciate you coming back on again. And Breaking the Plane is a really cool spot. If you like sports memorabilia, check it out. And we've always worked together with trying to get some more people watching the Sideline Junkies Network, and getting some people over to Breaking the Plane. So appreciate you coming on again. Dylan's going to be picking for a few teams. Of course, his favorite team, Jacksonville, not picking. Are you happy that you didn't have to worry about picking for your Jaguars this year?
If where we're picking in the draft, if that guy was Travis Hunter, I'm good with that. Even if he's just going to be a corner, because if he's just going to be a corner, he's going to be the best. So I'm all right with it. I'm still feeling good about the trade from last year.
All right, good. All right, so you are picking for the New York Jets, and I assume you have your pick and you're ready, right?
Yes. So
all right. Hold on. Let me get you your music.
Oh, okay.
He needs his music.
There you go. You got to have the music. Okay, now go for it.
With the 2nd overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select David Bailey, edge from Texas Tech.
All right, now give me the why.
Yeah, so Aaron Glenn's got to start building his team in the Detroit Lions image with defense. Last year was obviously a dumpster fire for the Jets, but they're keeping him on. But he's got to really show that defense can perform this year. They're going to be tempted to take Arvell Reese in this spot, but Reese doesn't have a defined position. And while he's super athletic and can play a lot of different ways, they need someone who's just a master of their craft and a real blue chipper, and that's David Bailey. He'll make an immediate impact and can really be like that Aiden Hutchinson type of force for this Jets defense. So this is the safe pick. There's a chance Jets might go Arvell Reese here, but I think if Aaron Glenn's looking like we want to show growth this year and stability for his own job security too, David Bailey's a solid pick.
All right, I like it flying. Brian, what do you think about this pick at number 2?
Yeah, he's ultra explosive. I need a little work on stopping the run, but again, the Jets they need a lot of stuff. But talking about the Jets, building that defense again. He's the best guy on the board to do that around. So yeah, I'm okay with the pick. But again, it's the Jets, so they need.
Now, Dylan, let me ask you this: since I was talking about this from the Raiders side of it, if I would have come to you and said, "Hey, we want 2 and 16 for number 1," knowing that the Jets probably really want a quarterback, think they would have done it? Well, I mean, it's going to take more than 2 and 16. Obviously, I think it would take a few more picks thrown in there. But what would you think for leading the Jets?
Jets take that in a heartbeat. That would be a good move for them. And Mendoza is the kind of quarterback. He seems very mature. He can handle being in that New York spotlight at a young age. So he could be a good fit for them. But yeah, so if they offered something like, swapping first round picks plus the 16 and maybe like the Jets second round pick, that might be like a fair offer. I think the Jets should take it.
Right. Don't
see that happening though. I think the Raiders have their guy.
Neither do I. There's no chance it's happening, but I'm just curious. I was just curious to see, because I'm always like from the Raiders side of it, we need so much help. It's just so sad how much help we need. So, and I love Mendoza, but I just have no idea who right now is going to be blocking for him. So it was just curious to see. So, but yeah, I like this pick too on it. So there we go. So Dylan's going to be back here. When are you coming back here? You're coming back at pick 8 for the Saints, I think, correct?
Yes.
All right. So we'll see you back here at pick 8, and appreciate that for now. So there we go. We're 2 picks into this thing here already. So our third picker is going to be for the Arizona Cardinals. It is Mike McGinnis. He did some picks for us last year. Now, Mike could not join us live. For those that don't know, Mike works, I think he's still doing this. He works for the Washington Nats out in their, he works on the field. And they do have a home game that starts at 6:40. So I'm sure he's probably busy on the field right now, getting something ready to go for a 6:40 first pitch. So I'm just going to read the pick. But before I do that, we're still going to get the music because the pick is in. There it is. There's some music. So Mike took for Arizona. He took Francis Magua, offensive tackle for Miami. Let me read his comments. I'm sure I completely mispronounced that name, but that's okay for me. He says Arizona has parted ways with Kyler and are in rebuild mode. Francis is the best tackle in the draft, and to start a proper rebuild, you need to start in the trenches. And so that was his line of thinking for taking an offensive tackle, which I can't disagree with that. But I'm not the draft guru. That's fine, Brian. What do you think of this pick?
Yeah, Arizona obviously needs a quarterback. It looks like their starting quarterback is going to be Jacoby Brissett, and I know it's Brissett. Jacoby Brissett. But there's no chance of them being able to get the pick from the Raiders. And obviously, they're not going to take Ty Simpson this high. I know there's rumors they might trade down or trade back up to maybe get Ty later. But if you're just going to have another season where you're mid and you have Jacoby be the starter and you got to start building a team, the best way to do it is to take the first or the best offensive tackle and maybe get that quarterback in the next draft. So yeah, I like the pick. I mean, there's so much they need, but you got to start somewhere. And I agree with the guy that his reasoning why they picked him.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one too. I think this pick makes sense. Now, it'd be interesting to see too what Arizona does, because again, you're talking about another team that needs a lot of talent there. I think this is another one of those where it's a safe pick. It'll be interesting to see if anyone. I could also see Arizona trading down from 3, because again, you're talking about a team that needs help. So,
yeah.
If there's a team that really wants a player, I could see them looking for a trade down to get more draft capital later too. And the cat agrees. There you go.
Yes.
I like that. So, all right.
Five-star input right there.
There we go. In agreement. So I like that for sure. All right. So let's keep it rolling here since we got it moving along here just fine. So we have pick 4 coming up here is the Tennessee Titans, and Mike made this pick. Now, Mike is the Tennessee fan. So this is his team's pick that he made here at 4. He just was nice enough to pick for Arizona because we've not been able to find an Arizona fan yet. So also, too, if you see one of these teams that we're picking and we say that this is somebody picking for this team, that means that team is available for when we do our mock draft next year. So put it in the comments, let me know, and then I'll jot it down to make sure that we find you for next year when we get to this.
You already planning out 2027?
No, but I keep this, like Flying Brian saw it, like he got like this spreadsheet has who everyone picked last year because there was no way in hell I was going to remember who picked who. So if I've jotted down in my little notes section, then I will remember for next year. And when I get to that point, then we'll know. So so Mike has the fun of picking for Tennessee, and this pick is in. So let me get over here, and because we're going to be playing this. It is the NFL draft after all. There it is. So this one is my first little bit of a surprise, but he has the Tennessee Titans taking Jeremiah Love, running back from Notre Dame, and his thinking behind it is Cam had his flashes this season with the skill position corp of three fourth picks from 2025 and an injury-ridden Ridley. Despite needing edge rushers on this team, it's hard to hold on. I gotta come all the way over here because he had a long one. It's hard to what did he say? It is hard to pass over what can be an extreme game changer for this offense. Love could be the next CMC or Bijan for them. So he goes running back, and I that makes sense to me. I mean, they don't really, I think it definitely would be an upgrade. It would definitely probably be the best, especially with his receiving talent. I just think Tennessee needs a lot more than to go running back at 4. Now, granted, I know especially this was upsetting to a few for a few fans of coming up later on here. But Flying Brian, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I was a little surprised by this when you sent me this. I mean, I've seen there's been power rankings where he's been number 2, number 3 is the best player in the draft. But as far as the Titans go, I mean, like you said, they need a lot and they clearly need defense. If the Titans do make this pick, is this them committing that, Cam Ward, they're committed to him, obviously, and they're trying to build around him. I don't know if I like the pick. I think they should probably go edge rusher and build that defense up and then maybe build the offense a little more down the line in the draft. But again, he's a great player, but I don't know if can he carry the entire offense.
Yeah, Jeremiah Love is the one pick, right? Like I've seen all these different mock drafts that people do. Like you said, I've seen him going as high as 2. I've seen him going as low as 10 in some, which is weird too. I don't see any way, shape, in hell that if he's sitting there at 7, the Washington Commanders don't take him. To be honest with you, that's like the absolute lowest I could ever see him falling on these because that it seems to be a perfect fit. But I don't think he's going to go 7. I kind of thought that he would be more of a fit for the team picking 5th that we'll get to next. But here he is going at 4, and this is one of those ones like you get a mock draft, you get somebody that takes somebody maybe a little bit higher than what you're thinking, it can throw off the whole entire stuff. So this will be the fun pick when we get to watching the draft, for real on Thursday to see where this pick goes. Because I think the first 3 we've got a pretty good shot at. Obviously, we're going to hit the first one, right? And the second one, there's a couple of other edges, but I think Bailey, was well played out there too. So a very interesting pick for sure. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead here real quick and get into our 5th pick. This is another one where we didn't have the picker here. So we had Dylan, who's on. His brother Dustin also helps us out with this, and he picked for the Giants. And this one too, I think is a little bit of an interesting pick. But let me go ahead here and play the music. Oh, there you go. Let's try again. Gritty says hi. My turn for a cat. It doesn't want to play. There it goes. Now we got some music. So with that being said, Dustin's pick is Carnell Tate, wide receiver from Ohio State. And what he says here is exactly what we're thinking. They're disappointed they missed out on Love here, but they're happy to add receiving talent on the other side of Neighbors, especially to get the position some depth. Now, of course, too, with the Neighbors injury, I get that too, because you just never know with what he's going through, especially to get some positions of depth after the departure of Wan'Dale Robinson. So I think he wanted to go running back here, but then the guy goes, and so here he is. So Flying Brian, what do you think of this pick?
Yeah, I mean, if Neighbors, even if healthy, not healthy, how it goes, if Neighbors comes back healthy, then you put these two together with a young quarterback and a young running back, and it looks good on paper. Just you mentioned earlier, you talked about you thought maybe they would go here. You're not all in on Scatterboo like everyone else is.
I think he's fine, but you get a guy like Love in there because I think too, right? He can catch the ball where I'm not so sure Scatterboo can. So why not have a good 1-2 punch of Scatterboo and Love? But we'll see too. And that's a brutal injury too for a running back. With Scatterboo's injury too. Like how is he going to be the same? That was a terrible leg fracture for a running back. Is he going to be the same? I think that's the big unknown with him too. So as much as I loved him and what he did before the injury, that's an injury that's going to take some looking at, I think, as we move forward.
Yeah, Giants have a lot of wiggle room because they have a pick, four more down, so they can kind of go anywhere here. But I like the receiver pick, trying to make the offense explosive. So.
All right, so Sarah, what we got here in the comments now that we are 5 picks into this bad boy?
Well, first of all, we got Josh wishing us to have a great show, which is going great so far. And then Vic Carr saying Jamarcus Russell. I believe that was for.
Yes, that's for the Raiders because that was now the proper name for Jamarcus Russell is Jafat Ass. Because he's the biggest flop, the biggest bust in Raider history. That was the last time we had that pick, and it did not go well. So that's why. But I'm going to be cautious.
But that was all him, right? I mean, that was all him. That wasn't. He
He signed that contract, and that was it. That was it.
Well, wasn't he the tipping point of why we have rookie contracts now? I mean, wasn't he the final straw?
I'm not sure. Maybe that could be.
I know it's close. Because now they don't get paid, because exactly.
Yep. What else we got, sir?
We got one more. Anthony was just asking what's happening. I'm not really sure what that's meant for. Hopefully he can clarify if he's still confused.
Could be. So, all right. So there we go. We're 5 picks in. We're going to do this. Let's take a real quick break, and then we come back. The Cleveland Browns and when Axl Rose are going to be on the clock. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back. We are in the mock draft here. We are at pick 6. Let's see here. So we are up here. Boss Man's checking in real quick. We'll read that one real quick. What's up, y'all? Thanks, Boss Man, for checking in. I hope you're enjoying it. So coming up next here is the Cleveland Browns and Axl Rose. He's joined us for a few of these mock draft funds. So how you been, sir? How you doing?
I'm good.
I know you love your football. What were your thoughts on the first 5 picks, just for fun here? Anything there that caught your eye so far?
I like the 4th pick. I mean, I think I think the Titans the Titans need a splash. Okay. They needed somebody that's going to sell tickets so that people actually go to the Titans games. So I mean, I think it's a slam dunk here. They have no run. The running back depth is very low. If they're going to make a splash with the offense, it's going to be with Love. I see that all day. And even knowing that the Giants really want him, I mean, that's just icing on the cake for the Titans at 4. I've taken Tate at 6 for the Browns quite a bit. So, I thought this was going to be a pretty easy mock draft because I'm like, Tate will be there, end of story.
And then surprise, you find out Tate goes to the Giants.
Yeah, so I kind of played detective with this and just try to connect the dots with what I think the Browns are going to do. So this pick necessarily, I don't think this is going to be the 6th pick. I think that the Browns are going to trade the pick down. So I'm still taking the player I think the Browns will take.
We'll take. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because I know the lot of talk here because Axel's also here in the Cleveland area. Is that Cleveland is trading out of this pick, or is this is a likely trading spot for somebody to come into? But with that said, let me first give you your music. There it is.
With the sixth pick in the NFL draft, the Cleveland Browns select Monroe Freeling, offensive tackle for Georgia.
All right, and give me the reason why.
There have been 1,500 OT tackles in the draft, and he has the second highest. He has a 9.99 RAS, which is unheard of. We're talking about 1,500 players. He's like third since 1987. This is a elite tackle. Like I think Joe Thomas was like 9.4 or whatever. I mean, it's insane what he had a historic combine. And the Browns like these combine guys that just rise up. Coach Monken recruited him to Georgia, so there's a coach connection on top of it. So I think that if Tate is not there, and they're forced and they're under the gun, they're still going to take Freeling. But my guess is that the Browns will trade down, and they'll still be able to get Freeling at 6 or wherever they're at. Probably Dallas. But I mean, I think with this team, they have to be very open to flexibility because they don't have the talent to just take, just not be open to trades. And I think their number one plan is to kind of adopt the old school New England Patriots model of just trading down and acquiring assets.
I can't disagree with it. I like it. Flying Brian, what are your thoughts?
Yes, I had this whole routine. I was going to do the Mel Kiper, was it the Trent Dilfer bit where, that how could you take a guy so high? This is why the Browns are always picking the way they are. But you explained it where you don't think this guy's going to be taken 6th. You think the Browns are going to take him when they trade back. So that makes more sense because this guy on most boards has been 4th or 5th tackle in the draft, 28th, 27th, 28th, 30th, 29th players. So for him to go 6th would be wild. But again, your explanation makes it make more sense. So
yeah, I don't think it'll be somewhere in the teens. I mean, when you have these guys that, I mean, you've seen it every year. You have these guys that have these dream combine, their original projection just goes out the window. And OT is such a desperate position that, especially in this year's draft with no quarterbacks, I think that's the position that they're going to make a lot of runs at. I see a lot of OTs going in the first round.
Yeah. Yep, good call.
I believe Matty Ice is dealing with something. He disappeared on us.
Okay, geez.
All right, let's see. I don't have the presentation up. I don't know.
I usually can do it, but I'm not in. I'm in the guest spot. I'm not in the producer spot.
Yeah. Well, no, he has like his own presentation.
I don't know what the heck just happened there. I lost everything there for a second. I blame Sarah because she was talking about how smoothly things were running. So it's Sarah. It's your fault.
We only padded for a second. I just finished wrapping up my and wonderful implications on the pick. So you're good. You missed nothing.
All right, good. All right, let me bring back up here the PowerPoint there. I just lost like everything there. That was kind of crazy. So, all right, well, Axel, thanks for making this pick here for us. Thanks for coming in. I know you said you got somewhere to be, but Cleveland is up again at 24, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, again, I will say for my picks or whatever, I project that the Browns will probably trade at least 2. I think 2 of the 3 first picks. So like these picks to me are just like. Not that my second pick isn't ideal, but I just I looked at the value, and I think that's what they're going to look at. They're going to look more so on value rather than need. If they're smart, we'll see.
I agree with that. All right. Well, thanks for the pick, and hopefully, if we get a chance, if we're running early, hopefully we'll see you for your later pick. If not, then thanks again for joining me on the show. And
all right, anytime. I love getting on here. So
all right, you got it, buddy.
Take it easy.
All right, take care. Yep. All right, so that's our pick 6. So the gentleman Jack Carr is supposed to be making our pick for number 7 here. Let's see here. I don't see him in backstage yet, though. So with that being said, we're just gonna go forward. So, and he didn't give me any notes for this pick, so I'm gonna make it, and then Brian, I'm gonna let you talk, and then I gotta get something down.
No, great. I didn't make notes for it either because I knew Jack was coming out.
I know, right? So we're gonna fly. We're literally flying blind on this one for us. So, but anyway, so the pick for Jack here at 7 is Ruben Bain, edge from Miami, and I think I get this pick because I bet he probably wasn't thinking Bain is going to be here at 7. I know I don't think he's going to probably be there at 7, but if he's there, I mean, I think this is a slam dunk pick for them for sure. So, Brian, what do you think on this one?
Yeah, I mean, Commanders, they need build up the defense. He's one of the top edge rushers. He's real good stopping the run and all that. So. Not stopping the run. Yeah. So
all of it.
Yeah. So yeah, I like the pick. I know a lot of the mocks here locally, or a lot of the talk on the radio was getting the running back. So, but like you said, you don't think he's going to fall to 7, Jeremiah Love. So obviously, if Jeremiah somehow happens to still be there, maybe the Commanders do take him. But if Bain falls, then yes, this is a great pick.
Yeah, I agree. I think if Love is there, I think that's the obvious pick for Washington. But like in this one, he's gone. So then you take the next one and you move on from there for sure. So I think that's a good pick for Washington if that does end up happening. Dylan, real quick before you get to your Saints pick, what do you think on this one?
So, yeah, I think that the Commanders are going to be thinking Reese as well at this spot. But, I mean, the Commanders are in a great spot at that point. They need pass rush, and they've got 2 great ones on the board. It's really their dream scenario. It's just who's better on their big board. Bain's the safer pick. Reese has the higher upside. I think Bain's an outstanding pick here.
Yep, I agree with you for sure. So that's a good pick. If I'm sure, I think Washington fans will like Ruben Bain a lot. That dude is just a beast. I think I honestly think he might even go 2. I could still see the Jets maybe even taking him there too, just for fun too. But you never know with the we never know if the Jets are going to jet. So I think they're taking an edge, but there's a couple of them there for sure. So. With that said, speaking of edge rushers, and here you are with the number 8 pick. So let me go ahead here real quick and get you your music for the New Orleans Saints. Now, remember last year, Dylan here at 8 took a Shedeur Sanders pick, I remember. And of course, he ended up falling all the way to the 5th round to the surprise, I think, of everybody. So, but with that said, he's taking another shot at the New Orleans Saints. And there it is.
With the 8th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Arvell Reese, edge from Ohio State.
All right, Dylan, give me the why.
So the Saints are just thrilled. When I was picking for the Saints, I had to look at the list 5 times to make sure I was reading it right, that Reese was still available here at 8. This is a slam dunk, super athletic, can play multiple positions on defense, and the Saints need all kinds of defensive help. So as they're getting their young core established, they can try plugging and playing Reese in several different spots and different packages. It's just going to be the kind of thing that they, the sky's the limit for what Reese can do. I seriously considered taking him at 2 with the Jet pick, so it's a no-brainer at 8. The Saints will either take him or take a pretty hefty haul to trade down. Someone might pay a premium to go up and get him if he's still there at 8.
Brian, what do you think of this pick?
Yeah, I agree. If Reese is falling to 8, then absolutely they're going to take him. If Jack had taken Reese, and then I think maybe Bain would still work if they would have taken that.
Yeah.
That would have been the way it worked out. But, I mean, the Saints need a lot of offensive help too. But, again, this isn't the best quarterback draft and stuff. So, yeah, pick makes sense. It's a good pick for them. Yeah, I like it.
There you have it. We're all kind of in agreement on the Saints pick. So a job well done there by Dylan. Now Dylan's also hanging around here because he's helping us out here because apparently there's no Kansas City Chiefs fans out there, which I get. Who wants to be a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs? So it makes sense here to me.
One season, everybody jumps off the bandwagon.
I know, right? They're done at that point in time. So exactly. So Dylan is making this pick here as well for us here at 9. And so let's give him some music. Come on. There it goes.
All right, with the 9th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Mansour Delane, cornerback out of LSU.
All right, and give me the why.
So I was excited to pick for the Chiefs because they have such a good roster and they have not picked high for a while. So the writing was on the wall for a corner or safety pick somewhere in the secondary after that Trent McDuffie trade. Got a first-round pick for him. Great move by the GM getting that done. But they'll be very happy at 9 to get the top corner in the draft. Great way to replace McDuffie and get someone on a rookie deal as opposed to having to pay that high salary. He's got great ball hawking skills, great length. He's going to be pro ready on the first day that he stepped onto the field. So very solid pick, and this will be a good step in the right direction for the Chiefs getting back into the playoffs and getting back to the winning ways.
I like it. Of course, I just hope the Chiefs don't make the playoffs. So, Flying Brian, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, this is almost a no-brainer pick. They traded their corner away for a first-round pick later in the draft. They sit at 9, which they never get to sit in, and they get to take the best corner in the draft. So, yeah, this was one of the easiest picks to do. So, yep, I completely agree.
All right. So there's our 9th pick. Now, before we get into the 10th pick, now this is where the fun started happening yesterday for me. So, originally the 10th pick was going to be the Cincinnati Bengals, which Dylan had lined up ready to go. But of course, then the Cincinnati Bengals and the New York Giants made their trade. So Dylan's brother Dustin was picking for the Giants. So I sent him the email, and he's like, well, that pick works for me because I don't want to mess things up. I'm like, no. It's like we can't do that. We can't do a mock draft that way. Like it's got to be real. So like if there's a player that you want, take the player that you want because I'll deal with it afterwards. But we want the mock draft. We want this to be the way it's supposed to be. We want it to be authentic, right? So I give Dustin his props because he was trying to be nice and have us help out, but at the same time I made him do the right pick. So with that being said, let me go ahead here, get the music here going for him. And so the pick for the New York Giants is Sonny Styles, linebacker from Ohio State. Oh, hold on. Got to hit pause on there, else it just keeps going. And let me get here. He says, just looking for some high impact defensive playmakers, and Styles fits the bill, especially after trading away Lawrence. So this is the pick that he goes with there. And I kind of agree with it. It's a nice, easy, good linebacker pick. And it makes sense there. So, Brian, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I've seen some power rankings that have this guy as the 3rd best player in the draft. So if they are able to get him at 10 and he's the best linebacker in the draft, then it's a great pick. So the way our mock has worked out, he was there at 10. So, yep, it's a no-brainer.
All right. And Dylan, I'll have you give comments for your brother. You agree with your brother's line of thinking here on this one?
Oh yeah, Styles he might go top 3. There's talk of people trading into the top 10 to get him. The Cowboys, there's rumors of Cowboys trading up. So Giants with Harbaugh coming in, they're going to be defensive minded first, and this is a great core guy, another great chipper they can just plug right in, day one starter, making an impact, being a leader on the defense.
All right, so there's our picks 6 through 10. Sarah, what kind of comments do we have here on the picks 6 through 10 going on?
We got a bunch. We got a bunch of people coming in. Boss coming in, saying hello. I believe we got a new face, Foster Cat. I don't know if you're still with us. Welcome to the Sideline Junkies. Welcome to Drive Time. We got Vic saying Titans fans catching hate from Guns N' Roses. And what am I eating? I got a good old steak here right now. My parents are still learning that Monday's drive time schedule. So but I can't miss out on this. So I'm just snacking in while we listen here. Anthony and Dylan, did you end up choosing McCoy or Delane because the Chiefs recently traded away McDuffie to the Rams?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big part of it. They had that hole at corner and best corners available at 9. All the reason to make the pick.
Gotcha. All right. And then also adding in for me, as much as I both like Reese Styles, they're not these generation linebacker prospects that some people are making them out to be. They're like LT or DT.
Yeah, I think I don't disagree with that. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of these teams trade in and trade out of this first round. You're seeing teams move a little bit more, and I think maybe that's why. I think that there is that concern of what this talent is what the talent pool is going to be, especially at this part of the draft. So, Brian, what do you think on that comment? Do you agree with that, or do you think that Reese or Styles couldn't be one of these, quote unquote generation type players?
No, I agree. Yeah.
Okay. Dylan, what do you think? Because you made that pick too. What do you think? Do you think that this is just taking the best player that's on the board, or do you think he's got that potential to be that type of a player?
I think it's both. Best player, the Reese pick, he's the best player on the board, and he's got that high ceiling. It's about getting in the right system. Saints have a better culture than the Jets, so this is a little bit of me thinking like I hope the Jets make the right decision, go for the solid one, and then the Saints, I think they can mold that player with a little more high upside. So yeah, he could
right.
he could be like Micah Parsons type talent.
There you go. There we have it. All right, so there's our first 10 picks. We're going to take a break here. Oh, go ahead, read that one there.
B saying so far so good for us.
Thank you, boss man. I appreciate that. All right, so with that,
one more.
Oh, one more. Okay.
Everything adds on, but Dylan, that's putting high praise on them that they're Lawrence Taylor or Derek Thomas.
Not that high echelon.
Yeah,
not that echelon. I would say
they'll be good. Maybe not that good, right? Those are the best of the best for sure. Anything else, or is that it, sir?
We're good.
We're good. Okay. All right. So that being said, we're going to take a quick break. Dylan, I'm going to take you off stage here. We'll see you back here again a little bit later on for the Jets' second pick, and then we'll have Nancy coming up right after the break for her first Miami Dolphins pick. So we'll take this break and we'll be right back. All right, everybody, we are back and here to make the Miami Dolphins pick. Now, Nancy, just to know, welcome back. How you been, dear? How you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me, Maddie.
How is life in North Carolina? How's retirement treating you in North Carolina? Still treating you well?
It's amazing, although I'm not retired anymore, but that's okay.
I know.
Just working for somebody different.
Mostly, you're retired from one place anyway. How about that?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, now Nancy, the pressure's going to be on you this year because Anthony, who follows this show a lot, he is a diehard Miami Dolphins fan, so I'm sure he's going to have comments ready to go for your pick. So just be prepared for that, okay?
All right, I'm ready.
All right. So with that being said, though, first let me get you some music here. All right, Nancy,
all right,
at
number 11, the Miami Dolphins select Ohio State safety Caleb Downs. And I'm not thinking twice. This card is getting sprinted to the podium. Downs is going to be a day one starter for Miami. I mean, he's widely considered the best safety in the class for a reason. It's his instincts, his speed, his football IQ. It all pops. And his versatility just jumps right off the tape. Some evaluators are thinking Minkah Fitzpatrick, but maybe even an upgraded version. Caleb Downs is only 21 years old. I think that he's got everything that it's going to take to be that defining first pick of the Sullivan-Hafley era. We've got holes everywhere on the roster in Miami, as you well know. But this is a rare do-it-all talent, and he's falling right into our lap. And I just don't think that we want to overthink it. We're just going to turn in the card and move on. The you know, there's an idea of, oh, what if we can go ahead and trade out and maybe just move down a little bit into the teens somewhere and pick up another pick. But I can't pass up Caleb Downs, especially when Hafley talks about running his defense through the safety and having this kind of talent available to us at 11.
All right, I like the thought process. Fine, Brian, what are your thoughts on this pick?
Yeah, I mean, she beat me to it. It's her team. She would know. They need a lot of help over there in Miami. But yeah, I mean, the best safety in the draft. He's ranked, 7, 8, 9 on most power rankings. He falls to 11. You take him. Yeah, I like the pick. It's not going to matter when you're playing Buffalo twice a year and Josh Stone all over him, but that's fine. But besides that, he'll probably help the defense the other 15 games.
Yeah, Nancy, Brian is a Buffalo Bills fan, so sorry I didn't give you that pregame warning. So, Sarah, let's do this. Go ahead and read Anthony's comment, just because while we got Nancy on, I want her on for while we're talking Miami. So go ahead and read the comment there, and we'll see if we agree with Anthony or Nancy on it. So.
Okay. All right, Anthony's testing you here, Nancy. I don't like the pick. Oh, I mixed that up. I don't even know. I'm not going to drop a guy with a degenerative knee injury, and I don't think Sullivan is going to risk his first pick as a gentle manager like that either.
I think general manager.
Yeah, general. Yeah. Well, maybe so. I just think that the upside is so great, and he's only 21, and Hafley has talked about the fact that he plays the game within the game with that safety. So it's a crapshoot no matter what, but I couldn't believe that he fell into our laps. So he's the one that he is one besides Sonny Styles, which, darn it, he came off the board just before this pick. But he's one that I would not want to trade down. I mean, we need all kinds of help, but I think that this is the one.
All right. Brian, what do you think on Anthony's comment? Do you think that this is a weird spot to take it, or do you think that this is one where, do you think it is the right pick, or do you think that there should be something different there?
No, I think it's the right pick. I think, again, like she said, Miami has a lot of different holes, but if you have a chance to take a guy that's ranked on most rankings, top 7, 8 player in the draft, and you're drafting 11 and he's the number 1 safety in the draft, I think it's the right call. Again, I know injuries are a thing, but you can't predict that either way. He could never get hurt for the rest of his career. He'd get hurt you can't think like that. He's got a lot of upside. He's a great talent, and you need a safety. So yeah, I think it's the right call.
I want to bring this up. He says, Nancy, I think Sullivan would draft McNeil Warren over Downs because of size and speed. Let me throw this out there.
That would be really overdrafting, though. I mean, I think that would be a reach to take McNeil Warren at 11, maybe 30, when we come back on the board, but
Yeah, I love McNeil Warren because he's a Toledo guy, and everyone knows my love for the MAC, right? I've seen McNeil Warren quite a bit. I would not take him over Caleb Downs, not at 10. Now, like you talk about, if Miami trades down, and if they trade down and then he's sitting there, okay, I got no problem with that. But I don't think at 11 that I would take McNeil Warren, as much as I love him being a MAC guy. But
agree, because I like McNeil Warren too.
Right. Yeah.
But the fact is that it's just that's too rich for McNeil Warren. I would have loved to have had, I don't know. We need so much. It's like I want 10 picks, please.
I think you're right. I mean, like
first round.
I know originally you had Styles going there because Downs was originally going to the Cincinnati Bengals, but with that pick, then like you said, at 30. You could see them going safety if you went and got linebackers. So,
and I don't mind the double dip either. I don't mind the double dip. We need talent. So anybody that we can get in there to start for us right away. Yep,
I agree. Anthony just talking about the injury that Downs had, and I get it, but trust me, these teams are doing their due diligence on it. And I look, like you said, it's a crapshoot, but the potential's there. Could he blow out a knee? Sure, but same thing can be said for Max Crosby and stuff like that too. So, all right. So Nancy, I appreciate your time and going through the pick there. So we will catch you later, hopefully in the draft at pick number 30. But no, if you got stuff to do, then
Awesome.
I hear that too. All right.
All right.
Thanks for there, and we'll see her later on for pick number 30. So there's pick number 11, and it is time for this pick. But of course, they got their own song here for first, even before they start. So let's play that here first. Right. So one of my good buddies, Marcus Fan, is making this pick. He is a huge Dallas Cowboy fan, and his pick is in, but he couldn't. So with the 12th pick, the Dallas Cowboys are taking Jermude McCoy, cornerback from Tennessee. His pro day, he ran a 4.37. He's 6 foot. He has good size. He's versatile in coverage and has instincts. His high interception potential to get the ball back to our offense. It's his reasoning behind this pick. Flying Brian, what are your thoughts on this pick for the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, I mean, he's considered to be the second best corner in the draft. Talking about Anthony, talking about the injuries, he missed the entire 2025 season with an ACL tear. So him being taken this high is a pretty big risk. But then again, we are talking about the Cowboys, and Jerry Jones does whatever he wants. So he could absolutely do something like this. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a little high to take a guy who is on most boards, in like the low teens overall power ranking. He is the second best corner in the draft, but coming off the ACL tear, yeah, I think it might be a little too high to take him. If they trade down, maybe it makes more sense, but to take him at that number, I don't know. I'm not feeling that one.
Or maybe, because if you at the 20th pick, this kind of seems like maybe this would have been the pick at 20,
Yeah.
I think, than at 12. But again, see, that's what we're talking about. Where a pick like this, you just never know how it's going to play out and where it's going to go from there and lead to. So, I'm kind of in agreement with you. I thought this was an interesting move at 12. But like you also said, it's Jerry Jones, right? And you just never know what Jerry Jones pick is going to do or be. So we'll have to. That's one. This is another one of those ones that I've got kind of circled to see how this one plays out when we get to the real deal on Thursday night. All right, so our pick 13 is the LA Rams, and Mike made this pick for us. And if I can get back over here. Oh, it's got to play it again. I forgot. Got to all the way through. There it is. So with that, the pick is Spencer Fano, offensive tackle for Utah. Another offensive tackle comes off the boards, and the reasoning behind it, the Rams had their right tackle retire this offseason. As tempting as it would be to get more firepower, protecting Stafford and his back is critical. We also how dominant, because he's got more comments in here that I can't read there. Also dominant their division rival Seattle was on defense. The Rams also spending money in free agency to shore up the secondary. So, he goes with predicting the old man Stafford in his back. I can't argue that thought process is here. Flying Brian, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'm 100% on this pick. Almost the opposite of the mentality with the Cowboys pick. He's the best tackle left on board. I said more firepower, but they got a lot of firepower. So protecting Stafford should be 1A or 1B of what's on top priority. So yeah, I like the pick. He's the best tackle left. You take him. It's funny. My son is the Rams fan, but we haven't really talked much about the draft. He's coming down for it, so I have to get his feedback on it. But I mean, if he's there, I think it's absolutely the right call.
So you're saying your son is a Rams fan?
Yeah, it's a weird. So sometimes you can see it when on my show. So my wall is Commanders.
I remember that. Yeah.
For my wife, Buffalo for me, and then there's Ram stuff too. So locally we're all Commanders fans. I, as a kid, picked Buffalo in a video game by accident one time, and it happened to be 1990, where they were one of the best teams in football. Right. So they were really good. So as a kid, I always used them in a video game, stayed with them as a team, whatever. And then as a kid, my son decided, he told me and my dad one day, he was like 5-6 years old. He's like, I don't like the Redskins and I don't like the Bills. I'm picking my own team.
So
okay.
The Rams.
And then he just randomly picked the Rams. Yeah, it was Sam Bradford era, I think, back then.
I'm just noting that too for next year, because then he can be our Rams picker for next year.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, if I would have known you didn't have a Rams pick, I would have. Yeah.
Yep. So now we have him for next year. He'll be in for next year for sure. So
No problem.
we'll have him in there for that. That's why I was asking. It's like, okay, well, there's a Rams guy because we didn't have a Rams guy. So I like it for sure. So yep, I think we're all in agreement though with this pick. It makes sense for the Rams at 13 to go offensive line for sure.
Yeah, he's there absolutely.
They need to protect Stafford. So now this pick, this should be the Raiders pick. Let's be honest, the Raiders should be picking at 14, but somehow Baltimore was allowed to say thanks, but no thanks, and then take back the trade and then sign somebody for the same amount of money. So needless to say, I already hated the Baltimore Ravens. My hatred for the Baltimore Ravens is only going to go up now because of this. So congrats to the Ravens for that. But with that being said, let me go over here and we do this. Well done, Sarah, on the Matt hate counter. Yes, we always keep track of our hatreds here. So, unfortunately, we won't have any Hartford references with Scooter being out, unfortunately. So, the pick is Kenyon Sade, the tight end from Oregon, this is an interesting one for me. But let me read it. Well, he forgot the comments on here. I think he was just trying to get more firepower, and with Mark Andrews getting older, I think that's his thought process behind the Baltimore pick. But he did not give me many notes on this one to go with. So that's what I'm going with on this one. This is an interesting pick. Not necessarily I think he's the best tight end on the board, but just here, I'm not sure that he's a fit for Baltimore. Brian, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, when I saw the pick, they said there was no comments attached to it. So yeah, I thought it made sense as far as their other tight end is gone, and to give more firepower to Andrews. Looking at some of the power rankings I've been looking at, he's right around 13, 14, 15, so that makes sense there. He is the best tight end on the board. With a new coach and stuff, you maybe want to try to be more high profile, taking offense and adding firepower. So yeah, I guess it makes sense, but you need Lamar needs any help he can get in the playoffs. So maybe more firepower is the way to go.
I just think with Likely and with Mark Andrews, I just don't know that's the fit. I think Baltimore's got some other needs at 14, but then another tight end. But who knows? Maybe unless Andrews is maybe further closer to retirement than what they think. But I think last year you saw him kind of come back a little bit. But I don't know. That's just why I don't know that's a need for them at 14 right now.
Remember, Likely went to the Giants.
That's right. I forgot about that. Never mind. Then now that makes sense. I totally forgot about that. Likely was there. I forgot he's a free agent. So never mind. Then that pick makes much more sense.
So that's why it's why it made more sense. I was confusing each other with that. But yeah. They sent him to the Giants. So that I'm assuming that's exactly why this is the pick here. And like I said, as far as where he stands is in the power rankings, he's 13, 14, 15. So it makes sense. I think it's the right call. If Likely was still there, it wouldn't have made any sense. But
Yep. I brain cramped on that one. All right. So 15 is Tampa Bay. Jack made this pick. And this pick to me makes a lot of sense. So, but let me go ahead here. We'll play some music. I wish he was on here to be able to get some talking points on it. But the gentleman Jack took this pick for Tampa Bay, and he takes Hakeem Mesidor, the edge out of Miami. Again, just one of these beasts that Miami had on defense all year. Tampa Bay, I think this is where you're starting to see a little bit of weakness from them. So I definitely think this is the right pick to try and strengthen up that defense some. So, Brian, what were your thoughts on this pick?
Yeah, I mean, now when you start getting to this part of the draft, in the middle where guys pretty much start taking either what's best on the board or not necessarily, but they need this, and he's the best available. So yeah, the pick makes sense. Absolutely.
All right. Well, we are in agreement there. Sarah, we got any comments here through 15 picks?
We got a couple, yes. I don't know if you got this one. Did you follow up with that one? The second part of Anthony's message here.
Oh, right. No, yeah, we're good on that one. Yeah, I get what he was saying there, but I kind of covered it. Like I know what the concern is there.
Anthony adds on here with the Rams. I think the Rams would draft Jordan Tyson over Lemon because they need size on the boundary. I would like Puka, but they need another guy to complement him. And then saying they're going Vega, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, and I think that's kind of what he was talking about with the Rams thought process. Like they could go to add a playmaker. That wouldn't surprise me either. But I don't hate the offensive line pick with Stafford because look, he's getting older. We even saw towards the end of last year with that back, you just can't have him taking those type of hits at his age. And he's probably 1 or 2 bad hits on that back away from being being hurt for a little bit. So I get it, but I also get the reason behind maybe going this way here for sure too. So we good on comments there, sir? We got them all?
Nope. Vic going in, say would be nice on the Panthers. Doolall in here likely is no longer in Baltimore, still working but listening in.
Yeah, thanks for correcting me, Paul. We had that one too.
And then Anthony adding on, honestly, I thought being that Levante David just retired, they would have drafted either Anthony Hill Jr. or Jake Rodriguez.
Yeah. All could be possibilities too. I think any one of those here, you could be in play. I think some of those ones though too might be available later in the second round, but we'll see how we go. All right, so we got everyone?
Yep.
All right, let's do this. Let's take a break, and then when we come back from the break, the New York Jets the 16th pick and their second pick will be up, and we'll have Dylan back up on stage. We'll be right back. If I play the right commercial here, hold on. There it is. All right, so there we have it. We are 15 picks into this thing. Dylan, real quick, I know you're the huge football fan too. Anything in those picks 10 through 15 that caught your eye or that you liked or didn't like?
I like the Caleb Downs pick. I think Caleb's going to be really good in the NFL. So that's a nice pick for Miami. I was glad to see him come off the board there.
Good. All right. I'm curious. I was curious to know what your thoughts on that. That was it. So far, that's generated the most talk for sure. So, all right. So you got the second pick of the New York Jets here at 16. So let me get you hear your music here. All right. So with that being said, here, make sure I hit pause here. What do you got for the New York Jets second pick?
Caden McDonald, a defensive tackle out of Ohio State. So
right.
McDonald, he is a big, strong guy, 326 pounds. And what's intriguing about him, why I think Aaron Glenn's going to really like that pick at this spot. For a nose tackle, he had a bunch of tackles and tackles for loss. So in the run game, he just gets quick penetration and has lengthy arms and is able to just make an obscene amount of tackles for a defensive tackle. It's just the numbers were wild in college. So that's going to be a very nice piece to pair in the trenches with David Bailey that they took earlier. So with this pick in the middle of the round, Aaron Glenn's getting that whole defensive line set, and that's going to set the stage for everything they're trying to do with defensive improvement next year. Bringing back the sack exchange.
Hey, that's a good idea. If the Jets can not jet and do it, that's the question. So, Flying Brian, what are your thoughts on this pick?
Yeah, I was a little surprised by the pick. I mean, he's one of the highest rated defensive tackles overall. I saw a lot of his power rankings were high 30s, low 30s. So, did you have this pick going at 16, or them trading back and taking him a little later?
I have him going at 16. I think he's someone that's going to be higher on their board than on other boards.
So it's a specific Jets thing. Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious. Maybe it's reaching a little bit, but again, they are the Jets, so not really.
Yeah.
The Jets will Jets. Sir, I think we missed this one, so I was going to bring it up. Foster, when will the next quarterback be taken? You'll have to wait and see, Foster Cat.
Yeah, you got to wait and see.
Yeah. You got to stay tuned. Then she also had in here, will the Seahawks repeat as Super Bowl champions? We'll save that for future shows.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I think none of us here are Seahawk fans, so we're all going to say no because we all blindly think that our team will win it, right?
You do not think the Raiders are going to win the Super Bowl. Take that back.
No, I don't. You're right. I don't. But I could still see Seattle doing that again. So we'll see how that goes. So,
we have the Cowboys year finally, right? This is the one for the Cowboys.
Yeah. Sure. Right. Yeah. Hold on. Since you said it, now I got to play it again because you said their name. Hold on.
How about them Cowboys?
There we go. All right, there you go. All right, Dylan. As always, I appreciate all your help on doing this. Real quick plug. I'll give you a couple seconds. Go ahead. Make the plug for Breaking the Plane.
Yeah, so the new development of Breaking the Plane is now we're streaming on eBay Live. So we have late night memorabilia breaks and rip and ships, not just for sports cards now. We're expanded into Marvel trading cards, Pokemon, One Piece, and all that stuff too. So eBay Live is new, so check it out. And the next time you're on eBay, you'll probably see these like live streamers. I'm one of the ones that's almost always on there. So hope to see you pop in sometime.
And kind of talk about how it works. Like, how does it work? How do you get in there? How does it? How do you get in and have a chance to win some of this stuff? How does the whole thing work?
Yeah, so the way the group breaks work, you would bid on a spot for a team. So let's say we have a mystery mini helmet. There's one signed, autographed, certified mini helmet in the box. You would bid on a spot where you get to pick one team and get 3 random teams along with it. And then that gives you 4 teams total. Then if we open the box and your team is inside the box, you win the mini helmet. We're also doing what are called rip and ship, where I put a pack up on the screen. Like, let's say this pack of 2025 Donruss football, we're going for downtowns in this. You can bid on that pack, and if you win it, I open it live for you, and we show all the cards and sleeve and top load and protect all the good ones, and then ship them out. So yeah, check it out on eBay Live.
There you go. And now also, Dylan's a man of many adventures, and I know not everyone that's going to be watching this is in Ohio, but Dylan, you also run a little coffee shop in Ohio, right?
Yes, the Scooters Coffee Shop in Akron. We've been in business almost 2 years now. So there is a new Licious lineup flavor lineup out there. So there's not only the Caramelicious, which Scooters is known for, but there's the Fudgelicious and the Sea Salt Caramelicious now too. So we are at 910 East Market Street in the heart of Akron, out by the Goodyear headquarters. So we have fast, quick service through the drive-through with a smile. So pop on over the next time you're in Akron.
There you go. If you're in the area, tell him you saw him on the Sideline Junkies podcast network too, so that way he knows, right?
Yeah.
All right, Dylan, I appreciate your time as always, sir. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you around, buddy.
All right. Thanks for having me, Matt. Thanks, everybody.
Take care. Yep.
Yep.
All right, there you go. Yeah, that's one of the things. You come on here, I'll let you give a little plug for some of the stuff that you do. And Dylan's a good guy, so he and I go way back. So, all right, so 17 is up here. He had a fly after 16. This is his brother, Dylan. This is an interesting pick, too, because Detroit's one of those teams, you know, they just, I don't know. They should have been better than what they were last year. So here they are at 17. And his pick is Caden Proctor, the offensive lineman from Alabama. Detroit has had some attrition on the offensive line, and Proctor will help rebuild it. I think I probably agree with this pick as far as offensive line goes. Whether or not it'll be Proctor or not, I'm not too sure, but I definitely think it's a spot that this Detroit team seemed to struggle in last year. It just seemed like they did not have the protection for Goff like they had in years past. So, fine, Ryan, what's your thoughts on this pick?
Yeah, like you said, if they're going tackle, I kind of like the pick if that's what they're going to go with tackle. He's huge, big guy, 6'7", one of the biggest tackles in there. Now his 40-yard time wasn't great, but I mean he's a tackle, so that's not bad. But yeah, I like the pick. Maybe 16th, maybe they trade down a little bit because he might still be there, 21, 22, 23, if that's an option. But if they got their minds on an offensive tackle, he'll probably be the best one available. So I don't mind it.
Don't mind it. It's kind of how I feel too. Detroit's just one of those weird teams. Like I kind of adopted them as my NFC team, you know, since the Raiders were so bad. But last year they were very frustrating at times, and some of that I think is on the coach too. So I don't know.
Besides, if you don't count the Chiefs because you can maybe contribute some of that to the injury.
True.
You say we're the most disappointing team, the Ravens or the Lions, going with the hype going into the season.
I think probably honestly the Lions.
Yeah,
I think
they're pretty close.
I think a lot of people thought the Lions were going to be Super Bowl or nothing, and then they didn't even make the playoffs. You know.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I think at least the Ravens, you had the excuse a little bit with some of the injuries, where I don't think you really had that in Detroit. That the main guys were all still there. They just didn't perform.
It felt like the other teams around them, and especially in the division, are starting to get better, where they maybe are just keeping the course, right. And they're not. Yeah, now it's starting to catch up to them.
I agree. I think that's probably what happened there. So while we're in the NFC Central, Minnesota came up too, and Dustin took this one too as well. And I forgot the music last time, so I won't forget this time. With the 18th pick, Dustin for the Minnesota Vikings takes Dylan Theneman, safety from Oregon. So this is our second safety off the board. He says Theneman will fill in as replacement for Harrison Smith. And I can't disagree with that at all. So that's the pick here at 18 for Minnesota. Flying Brian, any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat on that. They need a safety. He's the best safety available. A pick makes sense. It's kind of it's nice when it all works out. Just all falls right into place, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah, and this is where too, like we talked about Downs earlier. Like this is where if they want Warren here, I wouldn't be that upset. I think this isn't a terrible spot for Warren to go compared to 11, but we'll see how that all plays out, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Listen, if Dylan is there, absolutely, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I think, and I can't see that he wouldn't be there at 18, but you never know how this thing all plays out. So, a few near and dear to the hearts here. The Carolina Panthers are up next at 19. Now, this is actually Dustin's team. This is the team that he actually likes and cheers for. And I know we have a lot of Carolina Panther fans that are paying attention to this one too. So we'll see what they think on this pick here. I bet everyone's also hoping Thursday night that the picks go this fast, right? They did shorten the time to 8 minutes, but we know that they still won't. They still won't go this fast for sure. So with the 19th pick, the Carolina Panthers take Makai Lemon, wide receiver for USC, and he puts in here the Panthers continue to invest in weapons for Bryce Young. Jordan Tyson may have the higher upside, but after the flop of Leggett, the Panthers take the safer player. So wide receiver here is the thought process, and that's where they're at. Flying Brian, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I don't mind him taking the receiver here. I'm not sure if this is the right one to take, but yeah, Bill. To me, if they take the receiver here in this spot, that means they're committing to Bryce Young, right? I mean, he's the guy.
I think we've talked about it a couple of times, just like in the past. But like Bryce Young, he obviously has his good and bad games. Like I think it just really depends of how he chooses how he wants to play that day, and then you don't really take it for granted. I mean, if he continues to play, I will say he's definitely had a better season.
Yeah.
So like if it continues to improve in that weird way, then I would be satisfied. I don't think they're gonna need I mean, if they want to do like in the later rounds where they get a quarterback, maybe go from there. But I don't think it's a first round pick. You obviously probably more so need a wide receiver than a quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think they should necessarily take a quarterback here in the first round. I just said if they do take a receiver, and a lot of boards have Lemon as the best receiver in the draft, but he's short. He's more of a slot guy. So if that's the way they want to go, I do think it kind of solidifies that, it's this kind of, if Bryce Young doesn't take a next step again this season and they keep giving him, trying to invest in the weapons, and it might be it. So.
Yeah, true.
See, I like Bryce Young. I think he showed last year that he can be the guy. I just think people had it. It's amazing what happens when you finally get him some talent around him. I think some coaching decisions that Carolina made in some of these games affected their record some too. But I'm kind of all in on Bryce Young this year. I think he's got potential. And let's also be honest. He's in a really bad division. Like you're going to play 6 games against the Saints, Tampa Bay, and Atlanta. None of those teams really have strong defenses. Like I think he's got potential this year to have a huge year. Sarah, let's go ahead. I know I said we do 20, but I know we probably got some comments here about the Panthers. So where are we at here comment wise? Let's go ahead and read through some of these because I know we have quite a few, it looks like.
Dylan is obviously the best looking member of the panel today.
I wish I would have seen that while he was still on here. He's loving the Jaguars outfit, I'm sure.
Vic Carr.
Yeah.
Paul says nail on the head with Detroit Matt.
Sure.
Vic goes, hell yeah, Dustin. for the Carolina pick, I assume. And then, fun fact, Panthers GM Dan Morgan played linebacker for my old high school.
Oh, there you go. That is a fun little fact. So yeah, I like this pick for I think I like this pick for Carolina. It makes sense to give him some more weapons. So yeah, I think we like it, right? All right. So 20, let me bring it up here again because the 20th pick is the second pick for oh, hold on. Wrong one.
Wrong
Zach
one.
Goldborn.
Do I need to do the buttons now?
There you go. How about them
Oh.
Cowboys?
That's the sound you heard in the Sabres game for the entire third quarter.
Man, that was crazy, that third period last night, because they were down 2-0. I'm like, oh, like I was afraid this was going to happen for Buffalo. You know, it's their first playoff game, and they're running into a hot Jeremy Swayman, and then all of a sudden, that goes to show you get one in on a goalie, and then you get a second one in, especially one that's kind of and the floodgates just opened up. But I was happy for Buffalo. That was good to see. I was happy that they won that game. All right. So with that, back to football real quick. Pick is in for them, and it is Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker for Texas Tech, and he puts in here tackling machine, great in coverage, had 7 forced fumbles, and is a great all-around player. And I think if there's one position that the Dallas Cowboys desperately need, it is linebacker. So I kind of like this pick for Dallas. Flying Brian, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, they do need linebacker. Again, you're looking at a lot of rankings have him in the 40s, so kind of taking him 20. And also, I've seen rankings he's 5th, 6th as linebackers. So again, maybe another pick where we're talking about Dallas, where maybe they're reaching a little bit, but again, it's Jerry Jones, so that doesn't matter. And if it's the guy they want, that's fine. But I don't know, taking a guy, taking him that high, I think might be a little bit of a risk.
Yeah, I do see that for sure. The one thing Marcus has got a pretty good grip on what his team does because he nailed his Dallas pick last year. So we'll see how he does this year with 2 of them. But I think he's got a sad good grip on what Jerry Jones is thinking, which isn't maybe a good thing sometimes. So
yeah.
All right, so there we have it, folks. We are through 20 picks. We still got 12 more to go. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead here and take another quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, everybody, we are back. And so with that, we're up to pick 21. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers pick. My good old friend who was on last week for our hockey show, Jeff Nail, who's a huge Steeler fan, made this pick for us. And if I can go here and come back down here, because I went up to play the one thing and I forgot to go back down. There it is. Maybe. There we go. All right, so the pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers at 21 is Jordan Tyson, wide receiver, Arizona State. He says thinking about Tyson or Luani, which has not been picked yet, but those two were both available when he went here. And he just said Tyson is the better value, and the draft is in Pittsburgh, so they will take the wide receiver. That's his final answer. He also said that he would not be surprised if they went edge here, but from what he saw, that all the best players were gone from edge, so he didn't want to go with an edge player here. So he goes with wide receiver, and I kind of agree with him. I think you want a nice splashy pick when it's in your home turf, and I think this pick will do that. So, Brian, what's your thoughts on the Steelers pick here?
Yeah, I mean, if he's there that low, if he's there that late, that's great to take him. Although, isn't it a little strange for a team to draft a receiver that doesn't technically have a starting quarterback?
Right.
Rodgers hasn't officially committed, right? I mean,
he is not, and
so I mean, it would, yeah.
Yeah, this is the first spot. We've not talked about Ty Simpson yet from Alabama, the quarterback, and the second quarterback going off the board. This is the first spot where maybe it could happen. But I don't know. Like, I could also see Pittsburgh trading back here too, and taking their chances later too. This is another spot where I could see a quarterback going here, just maybe not necessarily to Pittsburgh, but I do like the wide receiver pick for whoever is going to be quarterback. So I don't know. Yeah, you hit that one too. It's like,
I mean, I like it obviously as a receiver, but because he's a top prospect receiver. But again, though, it's just weird. You're in the draft room and you're gonna, we're gonna take a receiver, but you truly don't honestly know who your quarterback is. You can assume it's Rodgers, but there's a reason he hasn't committed yet. So.
Yeah, and that is true. We'll see what all happens there with that for sure. So, I like the pick, but yeah, the Steelers are an interesting team for sure. I know. Let me see here. I don't see him in here yet. So I know Midnight was planning on joining us at some point in time, but from what I was estimating for time for picks, we're actually running early today, which is kind of impressive.
We're way on the time. Because I saw that you had everything timestamped when you sent it to me, and I've been following. I was like, yeah, we're like a 20-25 minutes ahead of schedule.
Yep. Well, I was given 5 minutes for the first 10 picks, because you just never know how long we're going to take gibber John about it. And same thing with the. And I was given 4 minutes for the picks after that, because that's kind of what we were running last year. But I think this year we're now I'm a bit more well oiled on getting through this stuff too. So going in year 2, like I'm hitting the buttons a little bit quicker than I did last year, so it's flowing a little bit faster, which is always nice too. So, all right. So pick 22 is the first one that Midnight made for us here for the Chargers, and I went over here. So let me come back down here, and there it is. Come on. All right, so with the 22nd pick for the Chargers, the Midnight Rider takes Leone. I'm not going to try to pronounce the first name because I know I'll completely mispronounce it. Offensive guard for Penn State. Let me see here. Could this be? I heard the beep. I don't know who that is that's joining us. I'll have to wait till I see a picture, unless he's coming up with a funny name for himself. But anyway, the pick is Leone, offensive guard for Penn State. And his thoughts in here is he's just the perfect Harbaugh pick here, which is true. I agree with that. Oh, it is him. Look at that. Hold on here. Let's bring him in here.
There we go.
What's going on, man?
How are we doing there, sir?
I'm good. How you doing, sir?
You threw me for a loop there with the name. I was like, who the hell got into our feed here? I was waiting to see it there. So I'm like, what the heck is going on here? So, Mr. Midnight Rider, so we just got to your LA Chargers pick, so walk us through it here real quick, and then I'll give you a chance from looking through the picks that happened before to give some quick comments, because I know you love yourself a mock draft as well.
Oh, perfect. I mean, the thought process is exactly what I said. I mean, he fits the Mullen style of the Los Angeles Chargers. I think they're going to try to concentrate on their line a little bit more. Him beside a healthy their tackle's healthy, whichever one it is, whatever side he plays, is going to make for a world of difference. And that's going to make everything come together for them in terms of the run game and everything. And I think this is a year Omari Hampton gets to step up. And as long as he stays healthy, he's a 1,100-1,200 yard back because of this.
Yeah, that's a key question on that part, is if he stays healthy. So, Flying Brian, what are your thoughts on Midnight Rider's pick here with the Chargers?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's spot on with it. I mean, he's the Midnight Rider. So who am I to disagree with his pick? I'll save that for tomorrow.
Save that for tomorrow. That's funny.
No. Yeah, no, it's the right. Yeah, it's the right pick. Yeah.
I don't disagree with that too. So Midnight Rider, so I know you're joining us here a little bit later on, but you did have the previous scene who was taken here before. So looking back through some of the picks, is there any that caught your eye as you really like that pick?
So the one pick that stands out the most to me is the Minnesota safety Dylan Thieneman out of Oregon. And the reason it stands out is because in the reverse mock that we did Thursday and Sunday, we had both KGM and I had him at 18 as well. I'm curious because we have a mock coming up in a little bit. I'm doing a mock with Josh and company at about 8:30. So I'm curious to see where he falls on that one. I don't know who has that pick, but I'll figure that out. But the Caden Proctor pick is another one I like. I think Detroit, that's the right theory, because Taylor Decker did, I think, retired or he got released. I can't remember which one, so I apologize on that. But there's definitely a fit in that situation. He's probably the more athletic of the three tackles that's left on the board.
All right. I do want to get your thoughts too on this because there's a little bit of controversy on Caleb Downs at 11 to Miami. Because Anthony, being also a huge Dolphin fan, didn't really like the pick. We kind of defended the pick with him being there at 11 because we're also not sure that A is going to be there at 11, but he's concerned of like the knee issues and stuff like that. So what are your thoughts on that pick at 11 for Miami?
Well, first and foremost, that's no offense to any other pickers, but that's one of my favorite pickers. Because I think she was spot on last year with the Miami pick as well.
She was.
If memory serves me correct. So I like Downs. I think Downs should be going anywhere between 7 and 11. So I had no problems with it. You guys actually threw in a couple wrinkles with the I think Arizona's taking the offensive lineman.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a little bit different. I just saw Rodriguez get taken by the Cowboys, I think.
Right.
I didn't have that on my bingo card, so it's going to be interesting.
And what about Jeremiah Love going 4 to Tennessee? Because I know you're a Notre Dame guy and a huge fan of Love, and all you want is Love. So what were your thoughts on that pick?
I'm not in love with the pick because it keeps us from getting love. So, but I like it. I think he's somewhere between 3 and 4. I think one of those two teams have to just go ahead and take a shot and just put a spark in their offense.
You don't think he's falling to Washington unless Washington trades up, then it sounds like.
Washington won't have a chance at him because I can't see them trading up because they've already spent too much draft capital on Tunsil.
There we have it. Any other picks you want to comment on before we keep rolling here at midnight?
I'm just sitting in the background.
Sit in the background. All right. Well, you can't see the background too long because you took for the Philadelphia Eagles. So let me go ahead here, get a little bit of your music going here. All right, Midnight Rider. What was it? 23.
You got to tell me because I've done too many of these the last couple of days.
You went back-to-back offensive linemen. You took Max Ikenor from Arizona State on this pick.
Yeah, I think he's I think he's 6'7". He actually has a soccer background, so he's gonna have pretty good feet. Now, if he can have the strength to go with it, I think he's the perfect fit for them to replace either Lane Johnson or the kid from Australia. I can't think of his name now. Jordan Mailata, something like that. So I think this is the perfect fit because Philly likes to layer talent. So when it's time for somebody to go, they can just move that person into that spot. They also can play him at guard, get his feet wet. Maybe him and Landon Dickerson as their two guards now going forward until one of those two tackles leave.
I like it for sure. I can't argue that. Flying Brian, what are your thoughts on this pick?
I know you made this pick a few days ago. With the news of AJ Brown, would you think maybe they go receiver? Maybe any chance of that?
I think that plan is going to take shape later. I think this draft is one of those drafts where you got a limited number on the tackles. So I think you get your tackle now, and then later on, there's a nice little honeycomb spot in the middle of the second to late third where there's going to be a bunch of receivers taken. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. Oh, and then somebody took Sadiq. Who took Kenya Sadiq? That was the Ravens. That's a good pick. That's a good pick. I kind of had that on a couple mocks. I've also had him going as high as 9 to Kansas City.
Wow.
We talked about my hate for that pick just because that should be where the Raiders are picking a second time, but you know.
And then let's see, so I like that pick as well. If I want to throw a curveball, my curveball would be 12 with the Rams. I'm waiting for Brian because Brian's going to say I'm overdrafting this guy. But when I see the fit, I think when I look at the Rams, I think Omar Cooper from Indiana, wide receiver. He's a little bit thicker than the normal, than all the receivers that are on the board right there in that spot. He fits them because he's a blocker as well as a good receiver. So it's just one of those things. It's almost like a Puka 2 just a different style of car. That's all.
Yeah, I'm looking at the mock draft. I won't spoil anything for the next till we get to 32, but he's not taken in this round, and you got him. You're taking him 13th.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Sometimes you got to die on the hill of your beliefs.
That's fine.
Yeah, we'll have to. That will be. I don't mind Cooper. I mean, hell, I wouldn't be that upset if if the Raiders turned around and took him to first pick in the second round to join his quarterback. But because the Raiders could use, but we have so many other holes than wide receiver right now. Not that wide receiver isn't a hole for us, but I wouldn't be upset if he somehow goes there either. So all right, so there we go. That's pick number 23. We're up to the second Cleveland Browns pick, which was Axel did that pick earlier. He could not stay on for the second pick. So I will just go ahead here. And if I can go back down here, because I went up to look at the comments real quick, just see what was coming in. There it is. With the 24th pick in the draft for the Cleveland Browns, Axel takes McNeil Warren, safety Toledo. The much talked about McNeil Warren already, as far as maybe some possible spots for him to land upwards. But he puts in here, should get Boston or KC, but won't. Possible steal in the late first round and needs secondary help and can get a wide receiver Warren later. Warren has more value here. So I think it's thought, and I know he talked about too, that this is where Cleveland may also trade out of this pick, especially say somebody, if Ty Simpson is still on the board, this could be a possible landing spot for somebody to try to get up to take him. But he has McNeil Warren going here, which, a little bit of Ohio connection with him playing for Toledo and then staying in Cleveland. So let's go. Flying Brian, what are your thoughts on this pick?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's Cleveland, so they got so many different holes and stuff to plug. I think maybe it's a little reach for him in the mid-20s. Most rankings have him in the high 40s, low 30s. But if that's a major hole that they need, then yeah. But I think they should probably, if that's what they wanted, they could probably trade back and still get him. So I don't necessarily like to pick there at that number.
And I think that's what Axel talked about before he left that. He took a guy because he does see them trading down. So he thinks that when they
that's right. Yeah, that's right. He was on. Yeah,
this is going to be the pick.
Right.
Which
so yeah, it was the same thing with him earlier. Yeah. When I was doing my research, it was throwing me off. Right. Yeah. So if that's the guy he wants, then it makes sense. But it doesn't make sense the number that we're the way we're doing it. But yeah.
Okay. What's your thoughts on McNeil Warren? Because I know even Anthony was talking about that him landing up at 11, as being one of the better safeties. What are your thoughts on Warren and his spot in this draft?
Well, if there's another person that's part of my crush list or guys that I like a lot, maybe more than everybody else, this is one of them. When I saw his tape from Toledo, I figured somewhere between 24 and 30 he would go because he gives me vibes of Eamon Warren. He's not as physically imposing, but I just think he's one of those guys that you can just kind of plug him in and do different things from the safety spot with his athleticism. So I like this a lot.
All right. All good stuff. So let's get into this 25th pick, and then we'll take a quick little break. So the Bears are up at 25. Of course, I had fun this last season with the Bears and my pick of how far they were going to go and watching them make it into the playoffs and everything like that. So Dustin had this pick for the Bears, and let's go ahead here, get the music going. And with the 25th pick, the Bears take Keldrick Falk, defensive line from Auburn. And let me read him here. Best edge rusher available, and believe that is a position of need for Chicago. So we've talked a lot about the edge guys and who's going to be available when. And this is the pick for Chicago, which, I can't disagree with. I think it is a neat pick for them. Flying Brian, what are your thoughts on this pick?
Yeah, I like this pick. If he's still there, 25th, I think it's the right call. It's a need. It's a double win for them. It's a need, and he will be the best player on the draft if he's still there for 25. So yeah, I like the pick.
All right, Midnight. Any thoughts on this pick?
On this one, yes, a lot. I think whoever took, and this is no offense, no shot at the person that drafted 20 for Dallas, But I think everything I've done, and I've worked around, had him at Dallas at 20. So this is a steal to me. I think this is where you get value. You kind of get a guy at a spot that you didn't think he was going to be there, and I think this is an A+ for Chicago. I think this is one of those situations where you just run this ticket up before they change their mind and say he's not available. So
I like it a lot. All right, so where are some comments here? It looks like we got a ton in here.
We do. Going up from the top, we got Joni coming in, poor Steelers fan.
Wow.
I'm trying to remember what LLS means. Hold on. But shaking my head. And then Paul going in, that reason is couldn't tell you. Could not tell you that one.
Isn't that iOS book?
I don't know, Paul. That's a big word for Elmo. That's a big word for Elmo.
That's the reason why Rodgers hasn't signed yet. Okay.
Oh,
now that makes sense.
Cool. If Tennessee doesn't get Love, it's because someone trades up to get him. We got Bossman coming in, getting Cassius Howell edged. Texas A&M for the Bills. 26 sacks in 3 years, hasn't missed a game. Anthony jumping in. To me, I'm surprised that the Eagles didn't draft Monroe, freeing offensive tackle Georgia. Or Freeling, sorry, Monroe Freeling. And then Rodgers is Rogering. It's a reason we let him go.
Well, that could be true here. What do we have? Do we have Monroe go somewhere? I can't remember.
We did. He was,
he was not taken. So he would be on the board. I could see that happening too.
No, he was taken on number 6, Cleveland.
Oh yeah, Monroe. Yeah, so he went way up. So that's why they couldn't take him, because in our mock draft he was already off the board. That's why I thought he was taken somewhere. Good. See, that's why we got you around here, Showtime. You're keeping us online here. So
I kind of kept writing it all down.
All right. Well, speaking of those Buffalo Bills, that pick is going to be next. But before we do that, let's take one more commercial break. If I can come up here and play it real quick. Here we go. All right, so we are back. The 26th pick is up for the Bills. Now, what's interesting, I want to go back here because he put in this.
Yeah, he changed his pick. Now I don't know what.
So the problem is that that player was available, and for lack of a better word, he might go next off the board. But when we had him make the picks, this was not the pick that the boss man gave. He gave C.J. Allen, linebacker for Georgia, as the pick for the Bills here. So that was the pick that you submitted. So that's the pick that we're going with, because Cassius Howell was taken later. But either way, so we'll talk both players through here. So Flying Brian, you are also the Bills fan here. So what are your thoughts here? Which one of these two guys do you like better, C.J. Allen or Howell from Texas A&M?
I actually like Howell better, and with the way the mock worked, he could have taken him. So I don't know what happened with that. Spoiler alert: Howell's going in the next pick. So, I mean, I don't mind the Allen pick. I know there's a lot of people think they're going to take receiver. I don't know why they think that. I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense. Brandon Beane has been getting so much heat for the. I know he didn't take Coleman, but he did. I just don't see them taking another receiver after the trade. So I think they're definitely going to go defense here.
And with Midnight Rider, two couple mocks.
I think they definitely go defense here, and I think linebacker or edge is the way to go. So either one works. Looks like Milano, they're not going to re-sign him, although he hasn't signed anywhere. So maybe there's a chance he could come back on maybe a cheaper contract. But yeah, if Howell's there, I mean, I'm sorry, if
Allen.
I'm looking at the wrong thing. If he's there, then I suggest to take him. But I don't mind it. I don't mind the Allen pick though. But I definitely think defense. I don't think they're going to go offense. Not in the first round.
You agree with the line, the line of thinking at least that it's going to be defense that Buffalo takes here.
I think it has to be. And I think if it's not, I think they're going to get. Bean has to take the offense. I mean, take the defense. They haven't really addressed it, so it's got to. I think it's got to be defense.
Let me go ahead here. He says Milano has injury problems. So just since we're talking Buffalo, we'll keep the Buffalo comments there while we're there. Here we go. Anthony commented, does that suck you because Aaron has an ego the size of California? He wants to take the media attention off of that draft and put it on him. Yeah, I can't argue that point there. He does have the ego there. So Midnight, what are your thoughts on Buffalo? You in agreement with your fellow junkies here on defense for Buffalo?
Before we go there, break a little bit of the third wall. Joni is JoJo, and she's a Green Bay fan.
Right.
So some of this is just pure hatred for Rodgers. Yeah. That's all. I mean, I know he deserves it, but still, it's just, yeah.
I'm okay with that. For any hate for him is okay with me too. So yeah.
With this,
what are your thoughts on Buffalo?
These were the two picks that I think Boss made one of these picks. I can't remember which mark we were doing, whether it was the reverse mark or not. But CJ Allen was somebody that came up in this stretch for us. I think everybody picked them just with different teams. I like the fact that you get a linebacker that can go sideline to sideline. So that's probably that's a plus to me. Cassius Howe, I've heard rumblings of short arms. His arms may be shorter than Bane. So I don't know if that's going to hurt or help him in this situation. But they say he has the best or the most complete set of pass rush moves outside of David Bailey. So it depends on what side of the fence you want to sit on. If you're making me make this pick, I'm going with the CJ Allen pick.
Okay.
I like that for sure. So for San Fran, that was done by yours truly. Now, I want to start by saying this with this pick. Ty Simpson still on the board. This seems like, and San Francisco needs draft capital. This seems like the spot where I don't honestly think if Ty is still on the board at 27, I don't think San Francisco is taking this pick. I think somebody is trading here to get a quarterback. But we don't do trades on this mock draft. We make you stick with whoever team you're picking for. So with that said, we just talked about it. Howell's pick here for me for San Fran if they keep this pick. They need edge. They need offensive line, wide receiver. I think edge was just off the board. So with that being said, I didn't want to reach. So why not take a really good linebacker? And I know you got the concerns of his arm span and all that stuff, but at 27, he could be a steal for San Fran if they make the pick. But I'm not sure if they're making this pick. I think this is where somebody trades up and takes one Ty Simpson. What are your thoughts, Flying Brian?
Yeah, I mean, similar to what we said with the Buffalo stuff. If he's still there, yeah, that is the right pick to take. But I'm on board with you. I think if Ty's there, then they'll definitely probably trade back. And then, I'm really curious to talk about the next pick. So I'm looking forward to getting to that. Yeah.
Yes, we'll get there for that one too. So, Midnight, what are your thoughts on San Fran, or especially the fact that Ty Simpson's still on the board? Like I just think that this is where, my honest pick is San Francisco is not taking this pick. That this is where somebody's going to trade up and get him if he hasn't been traded up for and taken off the board already. What do you think?
Uh-oh, did I just lose my connection?
No, you're there.
Okay. I like the pick because it gives them somebody coming off the edge to rush the passer, but I think they should have go wide receiver for some reason because you're going to be getting rid of Ayuk. You're going to be basically having Ricky Pearsall as your 2, and I think if you can push him down to 3, I think this would be a good spot for a receiver. I just don't know who that receiver is because I don't have the whole board in front of me. But and then I think I'm also with Anthony a little bit. But I had somebody different. Blake Miller here. They need to replace Trent Williams. Is Cleveland in this mix somewhere?
Cleveland was up. They took their 2 picks. They went at 24.
Okay, so that's where in my mock I had Blake Miller going. So to be honest, I don't think he's going to make it to. I think we're going to have a nice little run on tackles, and I think Proctor, if Freeling's still there, those type of guys are all going to go kind of like probably 4 tackles and 6 spots.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how it's going to play out.
Well, I don't disagree that all those things could also happen. So I'm with everyone on that side of it. So all right, so this pick is kind of interesting here. Now, when Paul Cordova made this pick, now I will say this. He submitted to me a different pick, but then this morning said, I'm going a different way with this pick. And I'll be honest, I should have then from there said the guy that was available that he had originally taken, gone down to 29, 30, 31, 32, etc. But it was too late in the day. So I let him change the pick. But in fairness, because I think he had an offensive lineman here at 28. I probably could have offered it up to the guys, but there just wasn't enough time for that to happen when he gave me the change this afternoon. So with that said, first let's play the music here. If I can come back here to it, because this will be a pick I think that'll get some talk going.
Yeah, absolutely. I had to relook at it.
So the pick here from Houston is the quarterback that we've been talking about, Ty Simpson from Alabama, and he gave me his thought behind it, which is with the other O-line gone, that either Houston takes the second best quarterback in the draft after CJ had a turnover effect in consecutive playoff games, and the 5th option was not picked up. Regrettably, they should do the right thing and pull the trigger on CJ's replacement now. So that's his thought process on it, with the fact that they didn't pick up the 5th year, and this is playoff showings that he thinks that Houston is going to be moving on from CJ Stroud. So Flying Brian, I'll let you go first on your thoughts on this pick.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance the Texans take him here. Maybe I'm just not plugged in right. Just for clarification, the guy that picked this, he's a Texans fan, right?
He's not. He's a Jaguar fan, but he did make an honest pick about what he honestly thinks the team's going to do, and he sold me on the thought process on it of like, okay, well, I can see that, because his points he make about CJ Stroud are correct, right? But I don't.
Right, but is Ty Simpson the guy is he the guy to move off too? I mean, he has a lot of questions too, doesn't he?
I think so. Midnight.
Yeah. I was dumbfounded by this pick.
Low-key, I love it. because I just don't. First and foremost, because if you saw us during the year, on Tuesdays when we ranked quarterbacks, myself and Jack, Ty Simpson was pretty much in my top 5.
Always in your top 5, right?
For the most part, and it's just something about him I like. I think the stomach injury hurt him down the stretch, and we just saw 2 different quarterbacks. And I think it was basically on injury. But I also like this pick because, Matty, you said something about the trade situation and being able to trade out of this pick because somebody's coming up to pick somebody. This could be a situation where the Texans do move back into the 2nd round early and take another player, and Ty Simpson is the pick, but it's just not to the Texans.
Yep, I agree. I somewhere in this 27 to 29 range, I think it's where now whether or not Ty Simpson is that guy is a whole different story. But we know how quarterbacks go in this league, and especially in the first round. Somebody's trading up in the first round to take them. It's just a question of what pick is it going to be, right?
Right. Yeah, I absolutely think he's going to go around here. I don't think it's going to be the Texans.
Right. Yeah. All good stuff for sure. I like it here for sure. I knew that was going to be fun. Any other thoughts on this pick here for Houston? I can't remember who he had originally. I probably could look it up here somehow, but I know it was an offensive lineman. And like I said, I should have gone back through to 29, 30, 31, 32, but just time was getting away from me this afternoon. It wasn't going to happen. Oh, here we go. Here's his thoughts on it. So we'll hit this here. Requires balls to make. I originally picked Lomu. That's it. Their offensive line is bottom 3rd. They shuffled the deck, but really only gained 1 solid player in free agency from Indy. Offensive line makes sense, but CJ has regressed every year since his rookie year. That's right. He had Lomu, the offensive tackle from Utah, originally in the pick.
I get the CJ has regressed, But I think the Texans get Tank Dell back, and if Tank Dell has anything left in the tank after that horrific knee injury, I think him and the slot kid from Iowa State they drafted last year, because they drafted both Iowa State wide receivers. I can't think of the difference between the two.
Right.
But I think that would help them a little bit. So I don't know if this is the demise of CJ Stroud. I just think he needs a better line in front of him first and foremost. But I still like the thought process, because why pay him 30, 40 million when you don't believe in him, and you may not think he's going to be a factor in the playoffs. Like, we got to get off this carousel of constantly paying the next quarterback, the most amount of money.
Yeah, I agree. Anthony chiming in here on this one too. The regression for CJ has more to do that. Bobby Slowick left to become a passing game coordinator for the Dolphins as well. So also good points there on that. And let's see here. Then Paul, one more here. When your quarterback had 8 turnovers in 2 big boy playoff games, why waste another season with that defense?
Good points.
Yep, I can't argue that. So there's our 28th pick. Dylan did have to leave, but he made the pick for 29. So let me real quick here come back down to this little fun. Yep. Maybe he'll play. I always do that. I cut it off too soon. There it is. All right, so the 29th pick Dylan made, and he takes Peter Woods, defensive line, Clemson for Kansas City. He had in here is Chris Jones, ages the Chiefs on the defensive side of the ball, and into their defensive line. Woods is a pro-ready run stopper who will, let me get here the comments here, who will make an immediate impact. So, Brian, what's your thoughts on this pick here for Kansas City at 29?
Yeah, I mean, if this guy's there at 29, it's a great pick. I like this pick a lot. I hate it because I don't want the Chiefs to be any good. But so that means I love the pick then, because I think it's a great move for them. Yeah, I don't think he'll be there that late, but if he is, it's absolutely.
All right, Midnight Rider, what are your thoughts on this pick?
Oh no, you can skip past me because Nancy on the screen. We good.
Okay. Nancy, meet Midnight Rider. Midnight Rider, Nancy. Midnight Rider loved your picks last year, by the way, just to let you know that. So he's a big fan of your pick making for Miami.
Awesome. I hope he likes this one.
All right. So let's go ahead here and get to pick number 30. But first, let me give you your music here, Nancy. Come on. There it is.
All right, at number 30, Miami is going big. We're going to take Clemson right tackle Blake Miller, all 6'7" and 317 pounds of him. He's athletic, durable, and he's going to be pushing Austin Jackson for that starting job. You know, Austin has had injuries. He's on a 1-year prove-it deal. So we really do need a long-term plan at right tackle, and I think Miller fits the bill perfectly. I think that he would be seen as the heir apparent to that position. He's steady, he's powerful, he's going to grow into a difference maker right when we're going to be coming into true contention the next, let's call it our window in a couple of years from now. So we really needed to come out of the first round with someone on the O-line, in my opinion. And later on, it's going to be more slim pickings. It's going to be a little bit more difficult. This is someone that's going to be plug and play for us, and that's important.
Flying Brian, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, when you have the quarterback room that they do, you want the best protection you can get. I mean, Malik Willis, Cam Miller, and Quinn Ewers, you got to make sure they're protected. So, all joking aside, do you think that they would draft if the Texans didn't draft a quarterback? Do you think any chance Miami would take him if he falls? Ty Simpson?
He's got to fall way down into like the 4th round, and I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're taking a quarterback. Mm-mm.
Okay, I'm just curious.
You don't think they'll take a quarterback later at all, Nancy, in the
They
draft?
will,
or-
yes, I think so, but I don't
Just
think
not in the first round.
not any earlier than the 4th round. I would say round 4. Yeah, maybe.
Midnight. What are your
But
thoughts?
we
on this
just
pick?
need too many other things, you know.
I know that problem, Nancy. Don't you
Yeah,
worry about
yes, you do.
that.
What do you think, Midnight Rider? Is that am I still okay in your book with this pick?
First of all, I gotta give kudos because the green hat with the shirt, and then you got like the offensive coordinator headset going. Yeah, that's killing
This
it
is the
for me.
draft hat, folks. This is the
Yes.
draft hat. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So
Just use a
I'm
piece of paper like this.
yeah, that's it.
Right.
If you have a pick into the other shows on here, I love bits. I got a great bit for Thursday. You got to check it out. And while you are here, you have an invitation to come join us Thursday because we will be doing the draft live. So
Ooh,
Miami comes up
awesome.
on the clock. If you want to jump in with us, give your thoughts on the pick, you are invited.
Well, thank you.
Nancy, I'll send you that link, Nancy. So
Awesome.
for Thursday, because it's a different one than mine.
Yeah, it's a big day. Let me tell you.
Well,
We
your
got
pick,
midnight.
I love your pick because I think I had Blake at 26 or 27. I had him going a little bit earlier to Cleveland. I thought that was their second half. Cleveland drafts the wide receiver at 6, comes back and gets the tackle at 24. So for you to get the value alone is outstanding here. And I love the pick because that's somebody that actually I think I've had several conversations on, and your reasoning is spot on. I'm surprised when you said Austin Jackson. I thought he was gone. So that's a great pick.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'll tell you though, I feel like there's a lot of discussion about, will the Dolphins trade out of 30, move into day 2 and get, someone else. But we really need the O-line, and I felt like this is good value, like you say. So I don't think that I would want to trade out of the spot if we could get, a tackle like this. It makes a lot of sense.
Sarah, pull up Anthony's comment. He didn't agree with the first pick, but he loves this pick here.
Yeah, he says, I like this pick, Nancy, because I don't trust Austin Jackson to stay healthy, and I think we're going to cut him during this offseason and draft another guard in the 2nd round.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they're going to probably be double dipping a little bit, whether it's safety, cornerback, O-line. They definitely. I mean, we've got 4 picks in that 3rd round. That's pretty exciting.
I like it for sure. So go ahead and hit those other comments here. We got a few of them, I think, lined up in there.
Yeah, we do. I zoned out for a little bit. I'm going to be so honest.
I think it was the last one was Paul.
As soon as Midnight Rider came on, she zoned out. That's what she said. I heard it.
The last one we read was when your quarterback has 8 turnovers. So it's the ones after that.
Gotcha. All right. Paul Gonan, Texas fans hated Slowick. With the knee, I agree that Brian Simpson is not a 1st-round pick. He has too many flaws to justify a 1st-round pick, and one of them is lack of starting experience at quarterback. Also said it's a good pairing of Chris Jones, being that Chris is more of a 3 technique pass rusher at defensive tackle, and Peter Woods is more than 0 tech. And I believe that is it.
Yep, that looks good. All right, well, there we go. We're through our 30 picks, so we're going to take one last commercial break, and we'll finish off the last 2 here. We're doing pretty good here schedule-wise. So, Nancy, thank you, dear, as always, for joining me.
Thank
It
you.
is great seeing you again, and I hope your Dolphins and my Raiders win maybe more than 4 games this year.
All right, that would be nice. I'll see you on Thursday.
All right, we'll
Yes,
see you.
indeed.
All right, see you. All right, we'll be right back here after this quick message, if I can come up here and play it. There we go. All right, folks, we're getting close to the end. The pick 31 is in for the New England Patriots. It's Jeff Ricker, who is a Patriots fan. It's kind of funny because last year, he had to pick what the Patriots were picking third or fourth, and now this year he's got the 31st pick after the big turnaround from the Patriots. And his pick was Zion Young, edge out of Missouri. I did not get a write-up from him on it, so I'm just going to turn it right over here to the panel. So, Flying Brian, what are your thoughts on another edge going here towards the end of the draft to New England?
Yeah, well, I had New England taking Ty Simpson because Drake May. No, but yeah, it's not a bad pick. I think it's maybe a little reach that low, but again, New England could trade out here, and if that's who they really had their heart set on to take him, it's hard to kind of comment with not knowing his exact mind frame or why they're taking him. But when you're picking 31, 32, just whatever is best on board, and I'm not sure he'd be the best on the board, so I don't know if I would necessarily go with him.
I think this is another spot too where this has screaming of trading down if there's somebody
Yeah.
that somebody really wants at 31 too. Where
Yeah.
this would be another one of those picks where I'm just not certain that New England's going to end up picking here. So who knows? But
Right.
Knight, what were your thoughts on this one?
I have to say, not so fast, my friend. This is a great pick. I actually have him going a little bit higher. I love Zion Young. Every time I turned him on this year, he jumped off the screen at me. So to get him at 31 is great for a team that actually needs some help on the pass rush because they lost Kayvon Chason. I probably would have done that differently if I knew how to say his name right. But yeah, Kayvon Chason is gone, and I think they need all the help they can get on the edge, and that's so I think this is a plus. I think this is a win-win because I think we had him higher than some other mocks we did.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I don't mind that pick either. So it's a good one for sure. So we'll see how I'm just not sold that New England's going to stay at 31 because these end picks is where the trades start happening where for people that want somebody on day one that they didn't originally think was going to be there. So did he said he had something here? Anthony, I saw you put this comment in here for Nancy, but I don't see. Unless I missed it, I didn't see. We read the one about you liking the pick of the offensive line, but I don't see another one in the comments unless I missed it, but which is possible, I guess. So, all right. Well, we've made it to the 32nd pick, which is the defending champion, the Seattle Seahawks. And Midnight Rider, you made this pick, and I know you probably, since you said you did so many, you took Brandon Sissy, the quarterback out of South Carolina. I'm sure I mispronounced that last name too. So, give me your thoughts on this pick.
Oh, this is perfect pick for them. You lose Tyreek Woolen from UTSA in free agency. He was your 6-foot plus corner, rangy corner with speed, and you replace him with this year's version of him, and that's Brandon's. I think it's Cease. I don't know, but I think he's the perfect replacement. He fits all the height requirements that Seattle likes for corners, and he fits their build. I think this is one of those guys you plug him and play, and then he allows you to keep Devin Witherspoon in the slot, playing more of a Joker style where he can blitz, he can cover, he can do a little bit of everything and impact the run game. So it allows you to be true to who you are and what you do week to week. So I thought this was an easy pick when you gave me this and his name was there. The only other person I would have put there, to be honest with you, is Jadarian Price, the running back out of Notre Dame.
Okay, yeah, because especially because Charbonnet, your favorite. Go ahead, say your favorite name. Here's your chance just to say it.
Talking about that Charbonnet.
There it is. Where'd he go? I know he left Seattle, right? Where'd he go to?
No, Charbonnet is still there. It's the other one, K9.
Oh,
K9 ended up in Kansas City.
That's right. All right. Fine, Brian. Any thoughts on this pick?
No, yeah, this one he finally got it, nailed it on the. No, okay, yeah, I agree with this one. if obviously if he's there, yes, it's the right pick to take. I completely agree on that one. I know it's a little anticlimactic to go out on the last pick, but that's kind of how the draft works, though. The last pick of the draft's not always the most highly. What's his Darryl Green? Maybe was I like Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. The comment was for about Zion Young seeing a lot of Trace Armstrong, the former Dolphins defensive end. So that was the comment that Anthony was talking about there. So sorry if I missed it there while she was on there.
I don't. Hold on. Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see that one.
Not going there.
I know what he's talking about, but nah, this kid's got a little bit more burst than Trace did. So I get where he's going, but I don't see it as much as he does. But you know.
Well, so there we have it, folks. There's our 32 picks. We had 5 edges taken, 5 offensive tackles. Then we had 4 linebackers. Then we had 3 wide receivers, 3 cornerbacks, a few defensive linemen, a couple quarterbacks that ended up being taken, and a couple offensive guards. So position-wise, is this about what you guys kind of think we're going to see breakdown-wise? Anything, any positions that went in the mock draft that maybe you think are going to be more or less when we get to Thursday?
I think we're going to have more receivers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get to receiver 4 and 5. That also helps me keep Cooper where I have Cooper at. Even though I think that's a reach, but I just like the fit. But 3 safeties, yeah, that's true. 3 corners. Who's the 3 corners? Mansour, Gerard McCoy.
Yes.
Oh, and Cease. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
Brian, anything position-wise that you think here is looking?
No, I think I think receiver. Right? With us not doing not doing trades, I think it makes it more teams start reaching when they start trading. So that I agree with the wide receiver thing.
All right. Team-wise, I don't think this is really going to surprise anyone. Ohio State had 5 players taken. Miami was next with 3. Then you got a lot of 2s and a few 1s here and a lot. But obviously Ohio State, which is I've seen this on a lot of mock drafts. It seems that there's going to be quite a few Buckeyes that will be going here in the first round. And you kind of see this breaking out that way too, Midnight, as far as Ohio State's probably going to be the leading team of first-round picks.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, they have 4 that could probably go in the top 12.
Yes.
So then you get McDonald, that's 5. Who else do they have that I can think of? That's it. I think that's their group. They're a lot right there. The wide receivers, the 2 linebackers, the safety. Yeah. I think they had a corner. I just don't know if he's a senior or not. That I like as well. But Indiana has a corner that I like, Pounds or Pons. I think he's gonna be a day 2 guy. I don't know if he's going to be round 2 or round 3. Another guy to look out for is Takario Davis out of Washington, another DB. So just 2 names to throw out there.
All right, Jeff, we ran a little bit earlier, but I saw you pop in backstage here. Jeff, are you there?
What's that?
I said we ended up running a little bit early today, so we got through the New England pick a little bit quicker than what we thought we were. But since I saw that you popped up backstage, I wanted to at least bring you on. So we gave your Zion Young pick for Missouri, but since you're here, and I want to thank you for joining. Go ahead real quick and give your thought process on taking Zion there for your New England Patriots.
Yeah, I just thought I think they needed some help at the edge, and at that time, in some polls, he was ranked as one of the top edge rushers in the first round. Obviously, you had your 2 people from Miami; those guys were pretty good. But after that, he was ranked either 3rd or 4th best edge rusher in the draft, and I just thought at that late in the round, I thought it was a good pick.
And I think Midnight Rider agreed with you on that thought process too. I wanted to ask you this question: if you so last year when you did this, of course you had the 4th pick for New England. How different was it going from picking 4th to 31st for your New England Patriots?
Well, I was okay with it being that they made it as far as they did. Yeah, I'm sorry I got on a little late. I think I missed my Baltimore pick too, didn't I?
Yeah, we got through that one too. And we were running early today. We ran a little bit earlier than I thought we were going to. So
yeah, and the Baltimore pick, I actually thought that's the best tight end in the draft. And obviously with the new offensive, the new coaching staff and stuff like that, I thought that was, you have the kid out of Oklahoma that was there. He's getting older, and the other tight end for Baltimore. I just thought this was a good pick. But I think that edge rusher for, obviously I'm a New England fan. I think that edge rusher could be a real steal at that late in the first round.
I agree with you on that. So let me ask you this: being a New England fan, after going from the one end where you're near the bottom of the standings to this last year where everything breaks right and they go to the Super Bowl, what are your thoughts for New England this year? Which one do you think is the real New England Patriots?
Well, I think, can they win the division? Yes. I think their young offensive line needs to improve. If they can improve there and protect May, I think New England could really get back deep into the playoffs.
Flying Brian's disagreeing just because he's a Buffalo fan, so
Well,
No, I'm sure. I just think New England, that left tackle is going to be really good. I thought their offensive line was horrible in the Super Bowl, and I think they can only get better.
I think we're agreeing with you there. I think offensive line will be fun to watch to see. That the line has to protect May, and then I think you've got potential. But I'm sure Brian's hoping for you to go back downhill. Am I correct, Brian?
I mean, hoping or it will happen. I mean, we'll obviously when we get more into the season, we'll talk about it on Tuesdays at 6:30 on Unapologetic Sports right here on the Sideline Junkies Network.
There it is.
But no, I think honestly, I think New England's going to be a little more. I don't think they're going to win 14 games. I don't think they're going to be picking fourth in the draft next year. I think you're looking at more of a between 9 and 11 win season, and then battling Buffalo for division, where Buffalo's maybe 11-13 wins. So I think it's more that than I do them completely falling off. But I do think the schedule I think is going to be a little more highlighted again this year, and we'll see how that goes. With the AJ Brown trade, I mean, that's a whole other thing that we'll talk about as the season goes. But obviously, it's Buffalo and the Patriots and everyone else in that division. But
yeah, Jeff, let me get your opinion on that. A lot of talk about AJ Brown going to New England. Do you want to see that happen?
I'll take him, no doubt. I'll take him. Now, I wouldn't give up the farm for him, but if you can get him, if you can get Drake May, somebody like that, absolutely take them all day.
Midnight, what do you think? Since we're talking about it, if you agree, if they're not giving up the farm, do you like AJ Brown with?
I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind giving up the farm, just to make it work. You need something to help that young quarterback out. You already have a weapon in Trevion Henderson, and to add a Brown to that just gives you more explosiveness. You want to show. Everybody keeps talking about, oh, we want to take our time and drive down the field. No, you don't. You want to score quick hitters and change the game quickly. You can do your long drives later on, but you need to be a playmaker or some plays to be made. And I think AJ Brown gives them one of the better playmakers in this league.
I can't agree more. And with the offensive coordinator who brought in the 2 tight end offense when Tom Brady was there, and that really helped the wide receivers. And I think it'll help AJ Brown because the 2 tight end system, when you can put a big tight end in the slot, and he's hard to cover, that'll free up some things for AJ Brown. I don't think you'll be able to double AJ Brown that much.
Agree. All right, Jeff. Well, I appreciate you joining in. I wanted to give you some time and let you talk some New England here at the end of the draft. So I appreciate you making the picks again this year, like always, and appreciate your time.
No, I appreciate you having me. You all have a great night.
You too, Jeff. Take care, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, folks, so there you have it. That is the second annual mock draft. It is officially done and over with on it. So we'll go ahead here and get ready to wrap this thing up. Our next show, of course, will be next Monday, April 27th. We're going to have a lot of Osei Can You Sings to update because, needless to say, the anthems have been flying. We're going to have a draft anthem. We've already had 3 or 4 anthems from the hockey games. I think I've made a decision that what I'm going to do is I am going to now allow for multiple entries. I'm just going to have them all listed, and whatever one has their highest one has their highest one. I think that's the way I decided to go for the Osei Can You Sings, because now we're getting some people that are getting second and third entries from being in it this year compared to last year, so we can see if they've gotten better or worse over the years. So I think that's how I'm going to roll with it. You cool with that, Midnight Rider?
It's your bit.
Just making sure.
I mean, I do like it, and I think the idea should be that you make sure you put the date beside the anthem, so we know when it's from, or the actual game, like game 1 of first round, or game 2 of the first round.
That's exactly how I've already updated my spreadsheet, so that way, and now I've decided also to separate U.S. and Canada because we're getting so many of both of them. So it's not really fair to compare both, but we can have our comparisons of what was the best Canadian one and what's the best American one. So we'll be rocking and rolling with that moving forward here on it. Showtime, I thank you for monitoring the scores here. Scores are coming in. She's been popping them up there for us here as stuff gets going. Well, also next week we will dive deep into these NHL playoffs. They're just getting going with the first games and getting ready for the game 2s to start now. I think Philly and Pittsburgh has just started. Carolina and Iowa comes up at 7:30. So I'm not that upset that we're finishing a little bit early here tonight. And then, hey, baseball's 25 games in. We'll be able to really start taking a look into the standings of who's good, who's bad. And then later episodes coming up probably this summer, our sports pricing families out of sports. So that's some of the stuff to come up on Drive Time. But hey, look at this amazing show network. And we happen to have a few of these hosts here right here. Of course, tomorrow night, we've got a couple of these shows. We got, Brian, what do you guys got planned for tomorrow?
All right, so tomorrow night on Unapologetic Sports, we will actually have Midnight Rider on. We're going to do just a mini mock, just the first 10 picks, and then we'll just give our thoughts maybe on a couple other players. And then the hottest segment in all of sports, Flying High and Lee Ice's Deep Freezer, we were going to do Flying High about the draft in general, like what's watching it, what some great things about the draft, and then Lee Ice has got some stuff planned of things that he doesn't like about the draft, and he's going to stick right on in that freezer. And then 2 weeks from now, May 5th, if you've been watching our show, we've been hyping it for a while. We're going to be doing the GOAT show. So who is the GOAT of the NBA? Is it Michael Jordan? Is it LeBron James? Is it Jerry West? Is it Larry Bird? Well, you're going to get your answer. Finally, the question will finally be answered. So that'll be May 5th. And we're going to have a lot of guests on for that. Big discussion on that. So looking forward to that.
All right, Midnight. What's going to be happening on the Tuesday night flight?
I don't know. I don't do any shows. This is the only show I'm doing this week.
Yeah.
Tuesday night flight. Probably gonna have some more draft talk. We're gonna get in some baseball stuff. Probably just update the hockey playoffs because I like to leave hockey, the deep dives to you guys because you guys do a great job of it. I will say that don't forget on April 13th, the Hartford Whalers did move 29 years ago from Hartford to Carolina just to drop that in for Scooter. I know he said it last week as well, but
that's the real reason why Scooter didn't join us. He was mourning today, so that's probably the real reason why. All right, cool. All right, so let's do this here. Let's say before we say my adieus, Flying Brian, you got any last thing you wanna throw out here?
Just check out Unapologetic Sports every Tuesday 6:30. Like and subscribe to the Sideline Junkies Network. Like I said, we're on everything: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, whatever, X, whatever other stuff. If you enjoy Midnight Rider, well, he's never on the network, so you gotta take him in when you can get him. So, but
that's right.
But if you're a fan of me, you can check me out every Tuesday at 6:30.
I appreciate you coming in off the bench on short notice and filling in for the Mel Kiper role. We did have a nice little bit. Scooter was going to gel back the hair he had and get the glasses on and everything, but unfortunately he got sick and he had no voice, so that was not going to work. So we'll save the bit for next year, I guess. So. Sarah, thank you for running the board in the comments and keeping us on time. Any last second thoughts here as we get ready for some playoff hockey tonight?
No, not really. The Philly and the Pittsburgh game's already going on. Still scoreless. I'm gonna try to do some homework while watching the Canes game. I don't know how that's actually gonna go. Probably gonna be a little distracted, but it's okay. It's okay. It's not due until tomorrow. I'm just trying to get a heads up on it.
All right. Midnight, any last second thoughts before we say goodbye?
Nah, I just thought you was going to take advantage of this big window and just go as long as you wanted, man. KG told you go. Don't ever turn. You never turn down free airtime.
I said 2.5 hours was my goal, so I'm and like I said, I'm not that upset that I'm gonna make here puck drop. So
he wants to go watch hockey.
Trying to get out before 7:30. We got things to do.
I told Showtime because she's like I'm out at 7:30 no matter what. So I was like we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen. So. I will say this: the playoff hockey's been great so far. I mean, it started off the first game at 3:00. You got Brady Tkachuk and Jordan Staal dropping gloves 3 seconds in, just kind of set the tone for night one. I was happy for Buffalo. Brian and I were talking about that earlier. Is the crowd there was fantastic. Seeing them come back and beat Boston was really, really enjoyable for sure. A bit surprised that Minnesota took out Dallas so easily in Game 1. It's a little bit of a concern if you're a Jake Islinger fan that here he goes again. So we'll see what happens in Game 2, and then Edmonton, Anaheim. Just now, their first game will be later tonight. So lots of good hockey to come up. We'll go from there on that side. So I'll take advantage of this, and I think we'll just go ahead and say adios. So like I say on every show, make sure you tell your loved ones that you love them and hug them, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. But hopefully you'll be with us tomorrow night for Unapologetic Sports and for the Tuesday night flight, and then back with us next week. And of course, all the other shows, I don't want to leave them out. Nothing but net. Wednesday, I'm sure you'll break down the NBA playoffs and where they're at for us, right? Midnight.
Yep, and then we got a couple conversations that I want Perry to jump in on that he missed last week. The 65 game rule is one of them. Some of the exceptions they made for people so they can still get the awards. But we're going to talk a little bit of that. I don't know if we're doing a WNBA recap or not, but we've got some irons out there.
All right. There you have it, guys. So, all right, we'll see you all next time. So until then, everyone, we'll say goodbye, and you guys all have a great rest of the night, and we'll see you all around on the network. Take care, everybody.
All right.